Hello and welcome to round 5 of the Choco League, Season 1, the ExA Chocoleague in association with Sim Racing Centre. We are very delighted to be doing Abu Dhabi today. Obviously, we had the qualifying earlier in real life at Abu Dhabi and try to match the racetracks where we can. I'm Gareth Allen, your host, and let's go over the standings, the driver standings, as they currently are. So it's Jamie Mells who currently sits on the top of the standings, 78 points, 3 wins from the last 3 races, and a DNF in the first race. Who knows where they could have got to if they didn't. It's been sensational form from Jamie, and Liam in second place with 52 points, the Mercedes driver. Bushy Ants in third place, 44 points. Only attended the last 3 events also, so yes, something like that. So that's right. I'm not completely well versed on it. And hey, AJ, how's it going? And Crab is also another name I go by. Obviously, Crab in the EXA server as well. Hayden Gillis is in 5th position, 40 points for the Alpine driver. And Savso, I missed out there in 5th position, 44 points for that driver too. Let's have a quick look at the constructors as well. The lobby is still being built at the moment, having some issues finding out who drives where, if you could believe it. But so it's Mercedes who are currently leading the championship in the constructors, 96 points from the first 4 events. Alpine in second, 85 points for them. Alfa Romeo have 78 points. Ferrari have 53 points. Williams 28 points. So we are coming up to the start of the lobby. It was last week, of course, Jamie Mells didn't qualify, but still managed to win the race. So they gained 19 positions according to the race results and still took the win. So Jamie Mells could literally just qualify anywhere and just get the race win, seemingly so. But actually, there was quite a lot of DNFs last time out at Brazil, the Interlagos circuit, and it was 12 DNFs in fact. So only 8 people scored points. So it was a really good weekend though from Jamie, who also picked up the fastest laps of the race, so maximised their points, 26 points from that race, and hopefully not too long until the start of this one. So hello everyone. I've got my own followers coming and looking at the stream. By my own followers, people from a Discord I am in. And what are we looking at? Are we having anywhere nearer the time? I'll try and get an ETA for when the lobby is going to start. So yeah, first time doing a Choco League. I do the coverage of the EXA crossplay division on Wednesdays. Season 2 starting next week, I believe. My predictions. Everyone can send in their predictions. I'm not amazingly well versed on the Choco League, but I know from my experience commentating Jamie over the Crossplay League, Jamie is an unstoppable force when they are in their prime. And it could be an Alpine 1-2, Bushy Ants. And who is the other driver in Alpine? Is it Hayden Gillis? It is Hayden Gillis in the Alpine. So it could be. I'm not totally sure today who is in or who is not. I haven't had a list of reserve drivers sent to me yet. And who is other people's predictions for pole? Let's go with pole position. Of course, we do the full qualifying format here on the Choco League on Saturday. So we have 50 minutes of sessions, is it? With obviously no 5 minutes breaks. There would be 5 minutes breaks in real life, but we have 18 minutes to start us off, 12 minutes in the middle, and it must be 45 minutes because that doesn't add up. But we have so we have just a little while to go, and full qualifying and 100% race. So let's switch over to the lobby, and Jamie Mells is in. Dirk Chocolate, of course, it's Dirk's league. This is the Choco League, and he is in the Red Bull seat, currently sitting in 10th in the standings. So attended all 4 events, only picked up 12 points as of yet, picking up, I believe, it was quite a few of those last weekend, because it was 10 of those last weekend. So 10 points picked up by Dirk from the Brazilian race, finishing in 5th position, one of 8 runners to not DNF. Who else is in here? So we have Bushy Ants in the Alpine. Bushy Ants currently sitting in 3rd in the championship. And don't forget to drop a follow to EXA on all of the TikTok, Twitch, stuff that comes at the bottom, the social media stuff, garbage, whatever. Whatever takes your fancy. Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, I believe, it's all there. Istio is a name I'm familiar with, of course, from the Crossplay division. And Hayden Gullis, of course. Hayden's here to this today. Razin. Kurt is back. Let's call him that. And yes, hello PW. How's it going? Rayleigh says once it's over, I drive again for the slow drivers. SR ROM. I don't know what ROM means. I hope it's not anything bad, Fent. Fade is saying make Aston Martin great again. Sebastian Vettel's tried to do that. Now it's Alonso's turn. And Alpine 1-2 Fence predicts. So I predict J Mills to do well. They're actually here this weekend. I think last weekend they didn't make qualifying. So they made the race, of course, and won the race. So I predict, I think it's a 1:23 I predict for a pole time. A low 1:23, high 1:22. And Aston Martin. Was that intentional misspelling? Aston Martin. Who are the Aston Martin drivers? ELZ is an Aston Martin driver, and so is Kurt is back. Or Kunst is back, if you say it correctly. But I won't be saying that. Let's just refer to them as back. And we have the 15-second countdown to come. So full qualifying will kick off very soon, less than a minute. And we'll have cars on track. And hopefully we'll have an interesting race. Aston Martin was never great to begin with. Well, Racing Point did okay when they copied Mercedes' car. Tracing Point, the pink Mercedes, back in 2020, was it? Yes, yeah. They basically took the old Mercedes design and won a race with it with Perez. But yeah, Aston Martin maybe not so great. I usually like to drive with Aston Martin. If I pick a team, I've always raced in leagues with Aston Martin, and we'll race in any casual lobby with Aston Martin, so big up. So we have the Abu Dhabi circuit, the Yas Marina Circuit, and I was about to read some facts off from it, but I just closed down my commentary notes, which is a pro move, if I do say so myself. Holla. So, where is it? Here we are. Let's open up my commentary notes again. And one thing I can just remember off the top of my head is actually Red Bull have always, including today, made it to the top 2 of qualifying. So Red Bull, obviously, this is talking about real life. From the Choco League, I've no idea. This is the first time I've ever run Abu Dhabi in the Choco League. So, got no stats for that. But, yes. Right, okay, let's begin from there. And we have... so Red Bull have never failed to not bring both of their drivers to the top 2, into the top 10, the Q3 qualifying session, which is actually quite an impressive stat. And we have the race out. So Infratic has quali ban, meaning the 2 Red Bulls have a fight on their hands. Okay, good to know. Thank you for that, Rayleigh. So Infratic has a quali ban. Infratic. Is that how you say it? Infratic? Something like that. They can correct me if I'm wrong. I probably will be. So let's get some of the telemetry up. And full track map. All of that gubbins. And we'll see who is the first to budge. And I think there was little Carlos driving out here. So little Carlos saw his message in chat. And I think he is an Alfa Romeo reserve driver, I believe. Because the 2 Alfa Romeo drivers... Oh no, little Carlos is a full-time driver. The Irish driver for Alfa Romeo. And he is the first to venture out on track as he heads into this new configuration of the Yas Marina Circuit. 16 turns instead of 21. Reprofiled turn 5, getting rid of the little fiddly bit before the hairpin, and also getting rid of the quick chicane at the end of the second straight, with reprofilings to the final sector as well to make it a little bit more pliable. A bit easy, but it's still just a grin and bear it sector. Of course, designed by Herman Tilke to feel like a full street circuit. And the Alfa Romeo driver is coming to one of the major redesign points, this long left-hander hairpin, very similar to the hairpin at Jeddah, actually, thinking about it, with banking as well, which makes it easy to go through, easy to push through. And of course we had two big moments at those two reprofiled positions last year in the race. Hamilton overtook by Verstappen on the final lap of the race, and Hamilton trying to get back desperately on those old tyres, but not having the grip to do so. So as we wind it up for the first qualifying lap, obviously this session is all about avoiding the bottom five, and it will be little Carlos who will be the first to go out. Don't forget to follow us across our social medias, which are going at the bottom of the screen. But as we come into turn one, brake just a 50, a little correction as little Carlos comes to the apex through turns 2, 3, and not really riding those apexes like he possibly should. 2, 3, 4, and we come to turn 5, end of sector 1. It's a 17.843 through the first sector. It's purple because it's the first sector time of the day, and now we are on the first of 2 DRS straights. So the DRS flap pops open on the Alfa Romeo, and now the job is to line up the turns 6 and 7, this tricky chicane, which is very, very low on traction, especially during the second part. You've just got to clip the inside curb and try to maximise the exit of 7. I don't think Carlos did that quite as well as he'd hoped to have done, but as we head through turn 8 and on to turn 9, we'll have the second sector split, and it's a 54.277 through the second sector. So little Carlos still charging on with this lap through turn 9 to go, and we come to a triple right-hander of turns 10, 11 and 12, and it tightens, slows down the 90-degree corner, leads you to underneath the hotel bridge and illuminates the night sky, that part of the track. And this is a part designed, of course, to feel like a street circuit, and invalidation through there will mean that little Carlos will not set a lap, but it's Jamie Mells who is the next car behind, currently on an out lap, so they are not going to be setting a lap time this time around. And who will be the next car on a lap? But maybe Marcus is on a lap, so 55.729 through the second sector. On intermediates here though, so I'm not totally sure if intermediate tyres are allowed in this league. I'm not amazingly sure. Rowley will let me know, surely. So in Chocoleague they barely have made Q2. His name is Fabio. Who? Little Carlos? His name is Fabio, I presume. And also, are we allowed intermediate tyres in qualifying in this league? I know some leagues don't allow it, some leagues do. So Cedric, Jamie 4 in a row, it certainly could happen. It certainly could happen. Jamie Mells has absolutely amazing pace. So if we have a first few lap times of the day, so 1:24.098 competitive lap time from Rutanius, and a 1:29.340 from Marcus, who is, of course, on the intermediate tyres, not going to be setting a fast lap time, just trying to sit any kind of lap time and not burn through the sets of softs through these sessions. And Jamie Mells is also on a lap with Inters. So I'm seeing a fair few drivers with Inters here. So I'm emphatic is Fabio, and Rulebook says no wrong tyre compound, but so it's allowed in the Choco League. Right, okay, thank you for that information, Rowley. I'm sure I will be requesting all sorts of manner of different clarifications throughout the race. Rowley, of course, the league owner for EXA, and putting together this brilliant graphic on screen today with the EXA Chocoleague and Sim Racing Centre partnership that the EXA have. And Jamie Mells coming through the finals corners and actually just returning to pit, so just a sighter, actually invalidated. And we have a few more times on the board. So Larsen, a 1:24.425. Hayden Gillis, a 1:29.189 for the Alpine on intermediate tyres. And let's actually get the best tyre detail on, because that will be useful here. And we have a car coming around the final corner and smashing into the wall out of turn 16. Didn't even cross the line. Insult to injury. And luckily still in the race. That could have very easily been a wheel missing, as Victorious comes around the final corner and sets a slow lap. So must have had a mistake on that lap. A 1:41 for Victorious, putting a good enough for 5th position at the moment, but only 5 cars have set a lap time in this qualifying one, as Rutanius goes up into... No, Rutanius was already... It was Safso who's gone up into 2nd position. So Safso is putting a 1:24.216 in the Mercedes car. So a good lap time from him, especially for Q1. And I feel like the cutoff for Q1 is going to be a 1:24. Thank you very much for the follow, Cedric. Appreciate it. It's yeah, we've got 163 followers. Let's see how much that can grow throughout this stream. And I'm of course the host, Gareth Allen, in for Chocoleague. Hello Fence as well. Thank you much for the follow too. Larsen coming into the pits. Who else is coming into the pits? Let's have a quick eye at who may be on a lap here. So Hako, DK, the Haas driver, in good position here, going to be pushing through here. 59.930. I think that isn't a supreme time through the second sector. And Jamie Mel's on another outlap on those intermediate tyres. So making those go a couple of times as we have a few more lap times go in. FOM has put in a 1:24.719 for the AlphaTauri team. Dirk Chocolate, a 1:25.289. So a little bit off the pace there from Dirk and FOM. I think a 1:24.2, something like that, will be the cut-off time. Is what I'm predicting. Completely just pulling numbers out of the air. Oh, and there goes Hako's wheel. That is almost too easy to do around here. That was a clumsy mistake from Hako. Just not scrubbing off enough speed into the pit lane, and bam goes the wheel. So that is disappointing as we have other cars trying to come into the pit lane. Victorious and Issue. Yeah, I watched AJ did that yesterday. I watched someone else do that yesterday in a league race. So you know, chin up Hako. It's a long ways to go, but it's also a long 40 minutes that he'll be sitting out this qualifying session. So who is on a lap? Issue is on a lap, coming around the final set of corners now, coming to the penultimate corner, turn 15, flat out since the reprofiling of this circuit in 2021. Round the final corner, turn 16, hitting the pylon in the middle, and it's a 1:24.574 up for 4th position from Issue. And P.W. Jones is in 5th position. The Williams driver, FOM in 6th, Dirk Chocolate 7th, Hayden Gillison 8th on those intermediate tyres, Marcus also on intermediate tyres, Victorious in 10th, and Liam, who is 2nd in the championship, must have had a moment. Oh, and he has another moment, and that could be back rear diffuser damage if he's so unlucky. Liam absolutely smacking into the wall there. Obviously has overheated those tyres, not getting the line right through there, and it's a bit of a put your foot down and dare to go fast through those sweeping corners as 2, 3 and 4 near the pit exit in the first sector. So Liam, yeah, would be lucky to have avoided damage there. And we have 2 cars out already. So Rasin Shai has been disqualified from the session, and Hako, obviously we saw his crash live on stream. And who else is on a lap? So Issue is on an invalidated lap. P.W. Jones coming around the final set of corners, but this isn't a fast lap. But OLS has gone into 3rd position, a 1:24.254 for the Williams driver. And we go and look at Jamie Mells, who is now on a pair of soft tyres and going to be setting a fast lap time here. It's a 1:24.142. So that's good enough for 2nd position. So that seems to be good enough for Q2. I'm going to say it. We've got 8 minutes left of qualifying. So that could completely disappear. And maybe we'll have a few 1:23s in this session, which would actually be rapid pace, as we had the Mercedes driver of Liam coming around the final corner, was it? Or is it? Yes, Liam coming into the pits. We have SR Rom, who is crossing the line now to start a lap, I believe. Yep, and he clips the inside of the first cone and makes a spin, and that is very close to the Haas of Larsen, I believe. Yes, it must be the Haas of Larsen, who both made a mistake through turn 1. And SR Rom will have to back out of this lap and maybe go for another. Yes, so he'll have time for another and have time to come back into the pits and put on another fresh pair of softs, if that's what it is. But it will be, you know, the absolute best of the tyre life used up. It still will be good because he didn't actually push that hard on that lap. Just a bit of a spin out of turn 1. As Bushy Ants is coming through the final sector now, and the final corner, and cuts the timing beam. It's a 1:24.299 for our man in 3rd in the championship. So a good lap from him, a 1:24.299. I still think we'll have a chance of having a few more, having a few more lap times come down from there. So I don't know if a 1:24.299 will be safe. Of course, we have a handful of cars yet to set a time. And we have a handful of cars who have set a slow time away off the pace, intermediate territory or making mistake territory, such as Hayden on the Inters, Marcus on the Inters, and Liam on those soft tyres. He must have made a mistake on his lap, and we saw him make a mistake through 2, 3 and 4. So Marcus still out there on a pair of intermediates, so leaving it a late switch to change to the soft tyre. Let's see if Marcus returns to the pits this lap, and SR Rum will be lining himself up for another lap, so we'll switch to him shortly as he comes around the final corner. Marcus is going to set another lap on those intermediate tyres, and it's an improvement, but I mean, the whole intermediate thing, it's a bit whack, isn't it? The strategy is maybe you don't need to use a pair of soft tyres if there's enough DNFs through the first part of qualifying, enough DSQs, enough people not setting lap times. So yeah, I believe it was Infratic Fabio who will not be setting a lap time. We've got 2 other cars DSQ'd or DNF'd who haven't set a lap time. SR Rom is on a lap here though as he comes through 6 and 7. The Ferrari driver, the Scarlet Ferrari, getting a bit twitchy on the exit of 7 there, so not the perfect traction that the SR racer would have wanted. But as he comes to turn 9, let's cut the timing beam. It's a 53.647 for SR Rom, and we go around the long corner of turn 9 into this triple right-hander of 10, 11 and 12. Comes quickly, of course. In 2012 it was Narain Karthikeyan and Rosberg coming together at that part of the track, which actually opened up the race strategy so Kimi Räikkönen could take his win. The only time a driver has won from below the front row of the grid, as SR Rom goes for a spin, and I think we'll be returning to the pits quite nicely. I guess that's the best place to spin if you are going to spin, and SR Rom returns through the pits. So it is Larsen who is now the next to go on a lap, but we have Marcus returning to the pits on those intermediate tyres. We have a Red Bull, must be Dirk Chocolate, just pushing to warm up the tyres. So let's ride on board for Dirk Chocolate, and this will probably be his final chance to set a lap time in this session. Currently sitting on a 1:25.289, so will need an improvement surely to avoid the chop from this race. Absolutely not at say thank you very much, AJ. So Dirk Chocolate coming through to the second corner now, and it's flat out normally, but he backs out of it. So interesting. Clearly not liking how he took the first corner there. Maybe wanting to scrub up a bit more fuel, but backs out of that that hot lap attempt. So we won't run out of it because it will be a very boring slow lap around the track. But Larsen is facing the wrong way out of turn 7. So difficult traction zone, and gone the wrong way and has no front wing. So those Haas's are making themselves very well acquainted with the outskirts of the track. And let's hope he can get back. Oh, I don't know if he'll have time to get back in and come out for another set of tyres. But he has set a 1:24.425. So that sure, I don't know if that's going to be enough. I said Bushy Ants wouldn't have enough recently, and Bushy Ants is certainly going out again to set another lap. So he doesn't think it will be enough. So Larsen will be very much bolting on a new front wing and leaving the pits as soon as possible. About 1 minute and a half it would be to go through the pit lane, change tyres, and leave the pit lane. And he misses the turn in. Misses a turn in, comes back in, and that pit entry is an absolute minefield. It really is. So Rutanius has said 1:24.098. I don't need to worry. Jamie Mells is on a lap at the moment. Are they improving on their time? It's a 53. No, not improving. So it's 2 tenths slower. And I wonder if they've gone out on a used pair of softs just to get a bit of a sighter. But actually has a bit of traffic through this final sector. So 11, 12, and oh, there we are. The McLaren just realises and gets out of the way of it. And Dirk Chocolate has returned to the pits. So Dirk Chocolate backed out of that lap, returned to the pits, and maybe he just thinks that 10th is enough. Maybe we don't actually need to see improvements here, and the times done are quick enough. So crossing the line, Jamie Mells does it just improve their time. So goes into first place. Obviously, it's not provisional pole because we have 2 more sessions of qualifying to go. And the McLaren driver of ECU, I believe, no, it must be Victorious, who's down in 14th place, is now on a push lap and only 1 place away from the drop zone. So drivers who are going to struggle here, so Hako, Infratic and Razin are out of this one. It is back in 16th position, Little Carlos in 17th, and SR Rom, who need to go and set lap times. And I think Dirk Chocolate maybe just realised that they aren't in danger, but I must be in danger because the car's yet to set intermediates. So I wonder if Dirk is just playing this too safe, as Victorious is not victorious through there. Dirk Chocolate hasn't left the pit, so Dirk Chocolate is running a risk here of being knocked out in this qualifying 1 session for sure. So he has actually just gone on an outlap. So he will have time, but he's going to have to push all the way on this lap. He's going to leave this all the way to the last minute here. And unless he goes cutting a few corners, he's going to be pushing all the way here. But we have an AlphaTauri who is pushing through the final set of corners. It's Vom in the AlphaTauri coming around the final corner, turn 16. And this is a slow lap, so this is an out lap. So I don't know why I'm commenting that. That's 1:24.719 that they currently have. And Victorious, of course, will have to push for another lap because there will be an improvement up to 12th position. Stays in 12th position. No, it was up to 12th position, but they need to go again. And this will be their final chance. Running wide there, not an invalidation. Very lucky for them. As Sector 3, there is yellow flags out in Sector 3. SR Rum does get up into 10th position, but a 1:25.2 and Dirk Chocolate will be pushing like a crazy man all the way around the final sector. And Marcus is coming to the final corner now. 55.729 through the middle sector, and it's not a great time. So I wonder if he's pushing again. He's got a full load of ERS. Little Carlos pops up into 13th position. Liam in 12th place, still in the pits. So actually, I think, I don't know, Dirk may be safe, but Dirk is on a lap here. So let's keep an eye out on his progress throughout this session. Larsen is going on another lap, is he? And a bit twitchy out of turn 16 and cutting the timing beam, and is going to be the last to cross the line. But I think Larsen's safe. Larsen's safe, isn't he? No problem. Victorious, meanwhile, will be coming over the line soon, but it's Vom in 9th position who's going to be pushing through turns 15 and is up 3 tenths of a second on their current time through the second sector. Through the third sector, it's up 5 tenths on his time and into 4th position. So it's Victorious who's had a moment. Victorious has had a moment again. So very, very close to the drop-off here. And there's an Aston Martin of Kunst who is coming around the final corner and in to 10th position. So he's safe. And now it's Victorious who is very much on the bubble here. And with Marcus coming around and setting a lap, I think Marcus may be able to knock him down. Hayden Gillis also in a danger here. But how is he going to go? Crosses the line, and it's good enough for 10th. So now it's little Carlos on the bubble. So Victorious won't be setting a lower time, but Marcus comes around the final corner, and let's see if Marcus can improve their time up to 3rd. That means little Carlos is knocked out of the session. No, little Carlos also on a lap, but invalidated. So little Carlos, Victorious, Hako DK, Infratic, and Razin City Shy. I've said Razin City, haven't I? Razin Shy will be the drivers knocked out of this qualifying one session. SR Jamie Mells setting the pace as you expect them to do through this through the sessions. Obviously won the last 3 races in a row in Choco League, won a few races in the EXA Crossplay division that I normally commentate. So yeah, absolutely setting the pace alive, and we are through to Q2. Whew. So just a confirmation there. If it goes black screen, there we go. So Jamie Mells takes first position in that session. Of course, the lap times are reset, and we have a session to decide the top 10, and it is the 5 drivers of Little Carlos, Victorious, Hako DK, Infratic, and Razin who do not make it through and progress to Q2. So they'll be out, and we'll have 15 drivers to duke it out in Q2, whittle down another 5 drivers, and then we'll have our top 10 shootout. So, anyone want to make some predictions now? We've had lap times. Yeah, Liam not seeming too confident around here. Second in the championship at the moment, Liam. Yet to get a win. 2 second positions throughout the first 4 races. So, good form. But, of course, Jamie Mells has a lead of... Ooh, quick maths. I think that's 26 that Jamie Mells has a lead by. So that's a race win and a fastest lap point that would be required for Liam and a DNF from Jamie Mells to close down that gap. You know, crazy things had happened. Look at the real race this year. After 4 rounds, I think Leclerc was very much firmly in the lead. 3 rounds even, it was a 40-odd point gap. 2 plus 2 is 4, mate. Thank you very much, AJ. Always good to have that as a reference. And we have detail. So tyre. So 1 driver deciding to go out of mediums. A few drivers going out on the inters again. So their laps will just be sighters. So the idea is that the track progresses throughout the session, and you don't want to be wasting your compounds early on. But I just always think just go out on an old pair of softs. But I guess you use them up for the race then. I'm not a pro driver. I'm much better at the commentary than the driving. So who is going to be the first car out on track? It will be Marcus. So the Aston Martin of Marcus is the first car out on track. And I think they forgot to turn their EOS off at one point because it's down to 79%, but charging back up to 83, I don't think that will be a problem. The Aston Martin driver on a soft pair of tyres, so we'll see a representative time from the driver, Marcus. Where is Marcus sitting in the championship? Down in... no, he's a reserve driver. So Marcus is sitting in 23rd with no points. So that would make sense. So Marcus probably hoping to get some points on the board this weekend. And coming round the final corner to start their first lap of this Q2 session. 13 minutes on the clock. As the Aston Martin heads towards turn 1. Throws it into this 90-degree left-hand corner. Clip the inside apex, ride the outside curbs. And throw it into 2, 3 and 4. Gobble up as much curb as you dare to use. And then flat out all the way down to turn 5. And this corner's so hard to spot your marks. Throw it in. There's 7 different ways around the corner, but not using up too much of the exit curb as you'd expect. So Marcus on a semi-decent lap so far here. Decently smooth, let's call it that. And brakes at turn 6, the heavy braking zone at turn 6, where Kimi Raikkonen pulled off last year and finished his final race in a DNF. I believe it was a DNF at least, which was a shame for him. Let's hope Sebastian Vettel doesn't share the same fate. Always sad when you have a driver retire in style by DNFing. Of course, could have happened in Perez if he didn't pick up the Red Bull seat in 2020. It did happen to David Coulthard 2008 at the Brazilian Grand Prix. Had the Wings for Life special tribute car and DNF'd. It was a sad way to go out, especially as it was the first time we ever saw helmet cam in the Formula 1 broadcast, and it lasted all of one lap. I think a collision with Nakajima in the Williams took him out of that race in 2008. Of course, Hamilton went to win the championship that day, so not all bad for the Brits. And Marcus coming out of the final corner, 1:28.864 to cross the line. That's a great time. Well, it's not a great time at all. I don't know why I said that. Bushy Ants, there we are. A 1:23.672. Now that is a good time. That is a very, very, very good time. Into the 1:23s goes Bushy Ants. Rutanius into 1:24.184. Jamie Mells must have made a mistake on that lap. A 1:24.730. Marcus obviously not making a mistake on that lap while I was maxing lyric about some nonsense. As we cross the line, there's Hayden Gillis who crosses the line on a pair of Inters 1:29, and it's Fom up to 4th for 1:24.831 for that driver, and the Haas about to start a lap. Through the final sector, we have SR Rom coming through the final corner, and 53.037 through the first sector, 1:23.550, so up to the top of the charts goes SR Rom. We have Issue in the McLaren going 3rd. Around the final corner, the Red Bull of Dirk Chocolate goes into 1:42.524, so making a mistake on his lap clearly, and we'll be pushing again. So let's ride on board with Dirk as we go through 2, 3 and 4, and using as much of the rows as he can possibly get away with there. And it's a fast first sector, so 5 seconds faster than his last sector. So that must be one of the places he made a mistake last time round, and probably backed off of it for good measure. So that is good progress from Dirk here. Obviously, we'll be looking to get somewhere in those 1:24s. Set of 1:24.5, I believe, in the last session, and let's see if he can improve. Locks up the tyres a little bit through 6 and 7, but nothing too disastrous through there. Nice and smooth, and hugs the inside of this blue painted strip as much as possible to shorten the distance between turn 7 and turn 9. Yep, there's a turn somewhere in there, which it doesn't really feel like, because of course flat out in these modern Formula 1 cars. And as we come to this final sector, 11, 12 is the corner he's going through now. Turn 12, the right-hander. Then we go underneath the hotel bridge as the hotel illuminates the sky with its dazzling triangle mounted roof. And found the final few corners absolutely flat out through here, missing the apex a bit there from Dirk. And around the final corner, Dirk Chocolate goes, crosses the line. It's a 1:25.3 3.97. So not a absolute stunning lap here, and he'll have to go again to avoid the falling out of the top 10, as Fob is in 7th position. And he's doing well, 124.831, but it's 3 cars who have got into the 123s: SR Rom, Bushy Ant, and Issue. And I believe Jamie Mel got into the 123s last time out, so we expect them to get into that range. I think the cut-off for this session, let's just arbitrarily call it a 124 at this point, and don't pay much attention to it going forward, because it's probably almost likely to be wrong. I think my predicted pole time at the end of the day is going to be 123, something like that, something around there. If someone can dip into the 122s, they've more or less put one hand on the pole position fastest lap award. Not fastest lap, the pole position wheel they give out, but of course we don't give out a wheel in this game. So coming around the final few corners is the Williams of OIS Infinity, and on the medium tyres, so won't be completely representative, and really won't be representative if you're going backwards over the line, and that's going to be a shame for them. It looked like it would be a decent 124 if they got to the line on time, but just carrying a bit too much speed through the penultimate corner, and the Mercedes of Liam are 135, so must have made a mistake there from Liam. The Red Bull returns to the pits, and it's the next Williams of PW Jones. Let's make sure they're tidy over the line. A 54 through the middle sector, 125.623. So that's only good enough for 9th position, but I'm sure those times will come tumbling down. We have an Alfa Romeo coming through the final sector. So that is Jamie Mells, who is currently on an outlap. So our championship leader currently sitting on 78 points after 3 wins from the last 3 races, and a DNF in the first round at what was the first round? Kota was the first round. I feel like it was Kota. Yeah, it was Kota, because there was a madness at the end where Hayden Gillis was 10th with 2 laps to go, and then somehow came through and won the race. So the Alpine driver doing well there, and we'll see what kind of first sector that Jamie can do. It's a 17.473, so a 10th and a half up on their personal best through that sector, running on to the first of 2 long DRS straights, 2 activation zones luckily, so not a Canada situation where you just have the double DRS advantage, or kind of Mexico Autodromus Rodriguez circuit where you have the double DRS situation for 1 activation zone. There's the second of the 2 detection zones, and there's the second activation zone. Coming down this long straight, and again trying to keep as flat as a line possible through that corner. It's purple through the second, it's 7 tenths quicker. So this will be enough to drop him into the 123s if there is no improvement through the final sector, but I bet there's going to be a bit of improvement here. So through there, very tight line, nice and tidy, and let's see if they can survive this very difficult low traction part of the track. Stays in 4th gear underneath the bridge. Coming to the penultimate corner, Jamie Mells on a decent lap time here, looking for pole position. Not pole position, but the top spot of the Grand Prix is a 123.309, so that's the fastest time we've seen today. That's certainly enough to get Jamie through to the qualifying 3 session. So we currently have 5 drivers in the drop zone. Hayden Gillis, who is on a lap at the moment, is he, or is it an out lap? I think Hayden Gillis is on a lap at the moment, but is in 11th position, so does need to improve. Has only set a lap time on those intermediate tyres, and Hayden looking to improve here. It's 2 seconds up through the second sector, kind of what you expect compared to that intermediate tyre, and the time will come slashing down. Thank you very much, Rowley. I appreciate the shout out, and it's a long one, but I'm very much looking forward to some good racing from the Choco League. If any of the highlight clips I've watched so far, anything to go by, it was going to be a good one. And Hayden Gillis coming around the final corner into a crossing the line situation, a 124.817, so up into 7th position. So it's Larsen who's out of the session. Must have had thank you very much, really appreciate that. I will need that moral support. Yeah, right, okay, that's good to know. So PW Jones is in 11th, so in danger at the moment. Let's go with that. In danger at the moment. PW Jones in 11th, Marcus in 12th, Infinity in 13th, Liam in 14th on an outlap at the moment, and Kay is back is in 15th position, and the reason I'm avoiding that is because I'll definitely slip up and say the wrong word if I say that one. So Rutanius is in 2nd position at the moment and looks to be on a decently quick lap to improve their time. The Ferrari driver driving the Scarlet Ferrari under the setting sun throughout these sessions, and a difficult sector that really is, so low on traction, but actually has backed out of this lap and has decided not to actually cross the line there. So 10th on the bubble, Larsen, but Dirk Chocolate isn't too far away from danger here. And yeah, perhaps. Yeah, I wouldn't. We'll see. Is it definitely going to be on Tuesday, really? So let's see. 10th. So Dirk Chocolate on an outlap here. Liam is just about to prepare a lap. We have a Williams returning to the pits, and we also have an Aston Martin out there, the Aston Martin of Marcus, on an outlap. Okay, wicked. Right, we'll discuss that later. I may be up for that. So as we start this final lap for Liam in this session, I'm sure we'll have a flurry of activity in cars leaving the pits. Oh, that's into the wall. That's the front wing gone, and that is surely Liam not starting. Not going through to the final qualifying session, pushing a bit too much there, and the man in 2nd place in the championship, Liam, on 52 points, will be progressing no further surely, as they have lost a big part of their front wing assembly. It's actually completely gone. They haven't lost a big part. They've lost, well, I don't know. Okay, let's look at that. Let's look at that. It's just some floating end plates. That's really classy. So just some floating end plates. A big part of the assembly has gone, but somehow the end plates still remain. So that's something. But Infinity is Marcus is on a lap and coming through the final sector here. Marcus, no, he's on an outlap because he's going really slow. So let's flick away from that. Dirk yet to leave the pits, and will have to leave the pits. He left it very late in the previous session. Luckily, was not bumped down, but you don't want to leave it too late because you don't want to overheat your tyres through the outlap, because the overheating of tyres would practically, well, it's a very, very temperature sensitive circuit. So if you are on a hot lap, your tyres heats will be screaming at you through the final sector if you took a nice slow outlap. But if you're pushing on your outlap, you're going to have dead tyres by the time you reach turn 1, to be honest. But we have Infinity coming around the final corner, only set a time of 1:31 on mediums after they span out and have switched to the soft powered tyres. So in 13th position on the bubble at the moment, it's is Dirk Chocolate. It's actually Dirk Chocolate on the bubble because, of course, Larsen has set a 1:24.219, but showing in 10th position because that's how the game works. But PW Jones coming to set up lap time now. No, he's going to set an outlap, so 1:25.63 is what he needs to beat. And Dirk Chocolate has left the pits with not much time left, so clearly likes to leave things late and push as hard as he can out of the pits to warm up the tyres. Clearly that's the way Dirk likes to do things, but Dirk is the car at risk here as he skips the corner of 7. I think just try to shorten his lap there a little bit and give himself a little bit more breathing room. Probably realises the task at hand is quite daunting to get around to the start-finish line in time. It's going to be a very close one, actually. We'll see if he can make it. But PW Jones on a lap here, coming to 6 and 7, this tricky chicane. And we also have Marcus, who's gone up into 6th position. So Marcus up into 6th, the Aston Martin driver. And it is Kay is back, coming around the final 2 corners here, and he is on a semi-decent lap, but I think he's going to be at a 1:25, and it's a 1:25.128, so it isn't good enough to go through. Does have another chance of setting a lap here because they have crossed the line, but will be running out of ERS as we see other cars make improvements through the field, and it's OIS Infinity. He's gone up in 7th position. So Dark Chocolate, Kunst has actually spun it, so he won't be making a session, and Dirk Chocolate did cross the line in time, so Dirk Chocolate will be the last car to go through the timing beams and is improving through the first sector. So hopefully a good lap from Dirk here, from also in the knockout zone and going 5 tenths quicker than their best lap. So that would put them into the position 8 territory. So it could be kind of 9th or 8th here for FOM. Let's see if they can make progress through this part of the session. And as he crosses the line, it's a 1:24.138. So that's 7th position. So that's seemingly good enough from at the moment. We have other cars on lap. So Hayden Gillis is the next car to come across the line. The Alpine driver looking to improve here. And I don't think it's going to be enough. 121, 122, 123. He's looking for a 124. No, it is enough. 123, 846. So he has improved. Now it's Kay is back. Coming through the final corners. No, he's not. That must be Marcus. It's Dirk, who will be the last car to cross the line here. Dirk, currently sitting in 14th position, has the car of Larsen on the bubble. Larsen won't be taking part in this session, but I don't think Dirk is quick enough here, and Dirk may be going out in this session. He is into 13th position. So it's PW Jones, Sasso, who retired early from the session, Dirk Chocolate, Kunst is back, and Liam, who are out of this session. Jamie Mells yet again setting the pace at 123.309, absolutely scintillating pace from the Alfa Romeo driver. Rutanius in second, SR Rum in third, and Bushiant also into the 123s. Hayden Gillis also into the 123s, so some good form from those Alpine drivers. Issue, the McLaren driver, races in the Crossplay League on Wednesdays. I think we're doing Wednesdays next time because of course it's reset, but has been part of that league. He's in 6th position. Marcus in 7th, Farm in 8th, so making it through that session. Infinity making it through in 9th, Larsen in 10th, but Larsen won't be taking part in the next part of the session because he is of course out of the session, had a collision, DNF somewhere, and is out of it. So PW Jones, Savzos, I'm just going to call him Jones, he's got a Welsh flag, Savzos, Dirk Chocolate, Kay is back, and Liam out of this session. So we have the top 10 shootout coming up. It'll be a top 9 shootout. Only 9 cars will take part due to Larsen's retirement from that session. And let's see who is going to take pole. Any predictions, Rowley? Anyone else in chat got any predictions for this session? We have, of course, seen Jamie Mel's pace be quite scintillating, but the other cars aren't too far away behind. If they can pull something out the bag, maybe have been keeping something hidden, a bit of sandbagging, and this is definitely still up to grabs. So, who will be the first to blink and leave the pit lane? And no one leaving the pits as of yet. It looks like there's a bit of action down at Alpine. So, one of the Alpine cars leaving the pits, and it's Bushiants who is the first to leave. Currently sitting in third in the championship. Only 8 points behind second, so a good weekend here could put them up to second position, no problem. Obviously, quite a few points behind our leader, 32 points, 34 points behind our leader, Jamie Mells in the championship, and Jamie Mells showing extreme pace through the first part of these qualifying moments, and we are now down to the business end of qualifying. Bushiant, the Alpine driver, will be the first to set a lap time, and we are looking for 123s. Maybe even a high 122s for the pole position today. Let's see who has the pace to deliver the goods. As a few other cars leave the pits now, for Romeo into second position on the road. So we'll see Jamie Mel's pace very, very quickly. Infinity, the car currently sitting in third and currently just redlining the engine. Probably do a bit of fuel burn, but the problem with doing that is that your tyres are so cold that your traction is just abysmal. So trying to get as much fuel out of the car as possible, and trying to redline it. So going quite slowly, but of course everyone on an outlap at the moment. And let's ride on board with Bushiant for the first lap of this qualifying free session. Of course we have 58 laps of the Abu Dhabi Yas Marina Circuit coming up after this, and we'll see who can take round 5 of the Choco League. But let's focus on qualifying. The first laps of Q3 coming in now and using up all the space, as much space as possible through there. Bushiant pushing through this first sector as you expect them to do on the soft pair of tyre in the final parts of qualifying. And I realise I haven't actually brought up any of my metrics, so not quite sure how fast it was through there, but it was purple, of course, the first lap time in this session. As we come to the first of 2 long DRS zones, the Alpine driver now just got to spot their braking marks down to this tricky and important braking zone, because it lines you up for turn 7, which you have to maximise the exit of, because you have another long DRS zone that will take you down all the way to 9, and that's about as minimised as I've seen it. Bushy Ants 52.956, so decent pace through the middle sector. Did see a little lock up at turn 6 earlier in the lap, but good here. Minimises the line through there and through here. Turns 11s, 12, and now into 13 and 14 underneath the bridge we go. Very, very difficult. Past Latifi corner. Well, Latifi, of course, made his mistake that caused the safety car in the race last year. Turns 15 and 16. And let's see what time Bushy Ants can set. Is it a 123? It is a 123. A 123.679. So good from Bushy Ants. Now the Alfa Romeo is coming through the final 2 corners too. Let's see where Jamie Mills can go. It looks like it's going to be a 122. It's a 122.873. Absolutely bursting through the 123 barrier, and setting a very, very comfortable time there. That is going to be one to beat for sure, as we see Issue come around the final corner. Marcus sets a 125 to go into third, and Issue sets a 123.643 to snatch second position off of Bushy Ants, but not for long. SR Rom 123.215, usually a very, very good lap. Some could argue on for pole pace, but not with Jamie Melser around a 122.873. Absolutely maximising their lap completely. Well done. That, yeah, absolutely. I agree, AJ. What a lap. What a lap from Jamie. Stunning stuff from the GOAT. Surgery says GOAT. Absolutely amazing stuff. We have Retanius on a lap at the moment, fast through the first sector. We have Infinity pushing as well through the second part of this lap. And there's a Ferrari driver trying to get out of the way ahead, I believe. I think they'll do that on the next part of the straight, or maybe just get out of the way in the braking zone here. Oh no, I think just putting off Infinity there. It must be Rom who it was. So Emphatic is going mad. He had a bet channel points on who gets pole. I have no idea what channel point is, but clearly going mad because because they mean something. Bushy Ants 4th position into the pits. Infinity coming around the final set of corners now. It's actually Rutanius who will be next to set a lap time. The Ferrari driver for SRC coming over the line, setting a 123.336. That's good enough for 3rd position. So Ferrari's currently sitting in 2nd and 3rd. They'll have the advantage of being able to work together. And it's Infinity who crosses the line and only improves to 7th. So only a 125.623 from Infinity there. So you'd expect more time. Hayden Gillis, meanwhile, is on a lap, but not anymore. Spinning out of that final sector. Thanks, AJ. I presume you're off now. Yeah, so Hayden spinning through that final sector from on an out lap. Hayden just trying to get out of the way there. Will Hayden go for another lap? He does, but then both of these cars return to pits from actually on a pair of intermediate tyres and making a bit of contacts in the pit lane. And Hayden Gillis, yeah, whatever, just throwing it into the pit lane there. Not. You don't need to. You only get a warning for going too fast into the pit lane in qualifying sessions, which is whatever. But yeah, throwing up the inside there. And it's Rutanius who is on an in-lap at the moment. And I think all the cars out there not on laps are going to set. So we'll have a little lull in activity before the final few laps of the race. And if you're new here, of course, feel free to drop ExA a follow on the Twitch channel. And, as if by magic, there's the TikToks and all that stuff coming at the bottom of the screen. Be sure to follow the socials. We have racing throughout the week, PlayStation divisions, crossplay divisions, and of course Choco League, and even an F2 race if you're interested. So Infinity returns to the pit in a dramatic style, and we have all the cars currently sitting in the pit lane at the moment. Let's see if any cars are looking like they're going to leave. This is the pit crew, of course, for the Williams driver returning to the pits, and we'll have a few moments of pause while we think about that 122 that was set by Jamie Mells. Absolutely amazing pace. Can anyone go out there and creep into the 122s? I think Jamie Mells is showing their pace, absolutely showing their pace. and striking fear into the hearts of the others. It will be difficult to beat that, and maybe it will be 4 races in a row from Jamie. Let's see if they have the pace to do that. Bushy Ants, Marcus, they're all in the pits, so it's just Issue who chooses to go out a bit earlier, a bit off kilter from the other drivers, hoping that they won't run into traffic problems if they go a little bit earlier. Of course, the track rubbers in throughout the session, so missing the absolute prime of the track condition, but what you trade off for that is a chance of not being blocked on your outlap. Issue currently set a 1:23.643, a very, very good lap time indeed, but only good enough for 4th position in this session. And it's Jamie Mells currently sitting on provisional poles, the championship leader SR Rom in 2nd position, and in 3rd position is the Ferrari of Rutanius. Only attempt splitting those 2 teammates, but still have quite a margin to the pole position marker. Issue almost a second back from pole position here. Let's see if Issue can shave off a few more attempts here, maybe looking breaching that 3rd or 2nd position. Just do an absolute belter of a lap. Jamie Mells has also chosen to go early. So we have a Ferrari leaving the pits as well at the moment, and Issue comes to tackle the first corner, braking just past the 100 metre board and taking a little bit of apex curb and exit curb, and trying to do the nicest threading of the needle through those 2, 3 and 4 corners down to turn 5. It's a slight improvement on their time through the 1st sector, but I'm sure there's more time to come through the 2nd and 3rd sectors from Issue as he comes and tries to line up the braking markers for turn 6. Issue will come down and brake just past 100 meters, and we actually see a lot of the braking markers have been wiped out, which is very, very difficult if anyone's running without the racing line assist on. That makes it super tricky to spot your marks there, so that's going to be a bit difficult. But Issue comes through the middle sector and not improving on their lap here, so could go either way through this final sector. Issue, the McLaren driver, comes to 10, 11 and 12 and tries to set a decent lap time through this final sector. Needs to improve to go any higher in this session. This will be their last chance of doing so, presuming they haven't got enough fuel for a recharge lap as they come through the final corner, and invalidates. So wonder if they'll just try and push again, but that invalidation right on the final corner there will be absolutely enraging, as Jamie Mells will be the next car to come over the line, and not improving currently through the first 2 sectors on their provisional pole time, and a bit scruffy through turn 9 as well. Let's see if Jamie Mells can do anything to improve their time here. 1:32.873. Truthfully, I'm not too sure if anyone else will creep into the 122s, but we still have a minute and a half of this session remaining as Jamie Mells comes through the penultimate corner and it's going to cross the line. It's a 1:22, so down on the time. So that little mistake at turn 9 has cost them a chance of improving their time, but it may be enough for pole anyway. Through the first sector, SRM is up in their time, but only by just over half a tenth. So SRM now losing time through that 2nd sector, so doesn't look to have the pace to trump Jamie Mells here, but may improve their time and put themselves a little bit further out of reach from the Ferrari, his fellow Ferrari driver Rutanius, as we have the Alpine and Alpha, and just pushing too hard underneath the bridge there, and that has cost him. Williams of Infinity has spun out of turn 7, and I wonder if Rom is going to try and go for another lap. No, he's just gone off this track and is chilling out, frankly. You don't want to get disqualified from the session there, because that would put you down into 9th position, as Rutanius is coming through the final sector here and seeming to set a good time. Let's see if Rutanius can do enough to snatch 2nd place away from his teammate, maybe even reach for 1st. No, bit of a moment underneath the bridge, and that may be enough to put pay to that chance. Let's see where he can come, and sets time, misses the apex of that corner, and this may be an invalidation to boot. No, it's not, but he does not improve his time. So Issue in 4th, Bushiant in 5th, currently on a lap. Bushiant, Marcus is coming to turn 9, and we have a few cars going on the final corner. OS Infinity and Jamie Mells, so they have set their lap times. It'll be From next over the line, coming through the final sets of corners, coming to the line and crosses the timing beam. It's a 1:24.165, 6th position for Fom. Marcus now the next car to come over the line with the Alpine of Hayden Gillis potentially directly behind him there. That's not optimal for either of those drivers, but Marcus crosses the line, does improve up to 6th, so that knocks Fom down. And I think that must have been Hayden Gillis, only setting a 1:32.608, so not getting a good lap time in here. Bushy Ant through the final sector. Isio has invalidated the lap, so not on a lap time. Bushy Ants will be the next car and final car to cross the line. Let's see if Bushy Ants can improve here on a decently good lap time. It looks like it could be enough for a second position. Was that second position? Thank you very much, Ant Rowley. It was second for Bushy Ants, so just snatching that off the Ferrari drivers who couldn't improve through the final moments of that sector. Thank you very much for the follow at that crucial moment, and it is Jamie Mells who takes pole position for round 5 at the Yas Marina Circuit, and it's a 1:22.873. The only driver to creep into the 122s and smashed into it, they did. And well done, Bushy Ants in second, 1:23.202. So good from third place in the championship, and has a big opportunity to gain a lot of time, gain a lot of points on second place in the championship. Liam, who did not make it through to Q3. So the rest of the top 10, SR Rum, Rutanius Issue, Marcus from Infinity, Hayden Gillis, and Larzan in 10th. I can't quite remember. Apologies, you DNF'd out of the session, so I forgot your name. So we have 58 laps coming up of this Abu Dhabi circuit. Let's have another random Abu Dhabi fact. It's right. Okay, it's a bit of a boring circuit, right? So I'm clutching at straws. Here's one. Here's a very interesting fact about the Yas Marina circuit. In 3 of the first 4 races, there was the pole position driver failed to finish the race. So I think that was all the races apart from 2010, because 2010, of course, Sebastian Vettel took pole, race win, led the championship for the first time, and took the championship in 2010. First of 4 championships for him. It was Lewis Hamilton who took pole in 2009, I believe. This is all just off the top of my head now. Lewis Hamilton took pole in 2009, and it was Vettel who won that one. It was 2011, it was Vettel who took pole, and Lewis Hamilton won that one, so reverse of that. And 2012, it was possibly Alonso who took pole, and Kimi Raikkonen won that one. That was a complete guess. But we have 9 seconds left before the start of this session. Another fact also is Ferrari have never won here, and a Ferrari power unit has never won here. So maybe Jamie Mells can put the Ferrari power unit into its first win at the Yas Marina Circuit, even if it is at this track, as we have our formation lap to take us around, and we can have a quick look at the different tyre strategies that are in play. So it is only Bushy Ants on the hards. Only Bushy Ants has gone onto the hard tyres. So Jamie Mells on a medium tyre, qualifying first into the 122s. They went in the qualifying session, showing supreme pace. Can anyone stop Jamie Mells from making it 4 in a row? Bushy Ants will be the first car in line to do that. The Alpine driver in second place, third place in the championship, and on a pair of hards. So doing it, only one on that strategy. Rom in third position. Rutanius, first driver on the softs, going aggressive on that soft tyre. Issue, the McLaren driver, in 5th. They are on a pair of mediums. So is Marcus, so is Fom. And Infinity has also gone on the hard tyres. So correction from earlier, Infinity and Bushy Ants are the only good drivers to go onto hards. So Infinity looking to go long on a pair of hards at the start of this race. Hayden Gillis on those medium tyres. Larson is... Jamie is going to win. Thanks for a spoiler alert, Evil. I haven't watched this one yet. Larson in 10th position. I think I got your name right. On a pair of mediums. PW Jones, 11th position on a pair of softs. Safso on a pair of mediums. Dirk Chocolate looking to go aggressive in their own league. Let's see if they can pick up some more points. A good result last weekend. 5th position. Gave them 10 points and put them up into 10th in the championship. Kunster's back into 14th position. The Aston Martin driver on a pair of softs. Liam is in 15th position. Little Carlos in 16th. Victorious in 17th on the mediums. Hako, Emphatic, Razin all yet to set laps, so not to actually see their pace. And AJS Inden is predicting Razin to go P20 to P1. Now, it has happened before. Jamie Wells won from the back of the grid last weekend, 19 position gains. Maybe that's not the back of the grid, but certainly won from quite far down on the grid after not qualifying last weekend. And it will be an interesting fight for P2. Go Jamie, says Surgery. Some support for more support for Jamie. And let's see as the final few cars come. Well, actually, as the cars start to line up onto the position markers, let's change the detail to positions change so we can see any good position gained on the first lap or any bad positions lost, I guess, as we have the start of this race to come. And the drivers begin to stare. One light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5. And a Chocoleague go racing at Yas Marina, and it seems like it's a good start from Jamie Wells, but Bushy Ants, actually it's the Ferrari of Rutanius who gets the best start, and Rutanius actually goes into first position, but there's contact between the two Ferraris, and Jamie Wells sneaks back into first position there, so lucky, the Ferraris absolutely smacked into each other, head to tail, and Bushy Ants actually creeps into third position. I wouldn't be surprised if SRM lost a little bit of wing from that instant, as there's a yellow flag already, sector 1, 2 and 3. That means it's a virtual safety car, not surprising, and Jamie Mells absolutely backing out of that one, and that could be all sorts of shenanigans there. Was it Jamie Mells? No, it was Ferrari who absolutely slammed on the brakes there, and there goes your prediction. It's, of course, Razin out of the race. So P20 to P20 was the predictions you should have made. You get a free one, AJ. Who do you think is going to do well now? We can actually have a look. Dirk Chocolate has fallen down into 19th position at the start of this race. 6 places lost, 7 places lost from PW Jones, so maybe contact between those two. Infratic up 6 positions. That's money that AJS Inden should have been putting their money on. Rutanius up into first. So Rutanius actually did get the position back from Jamie there, despite Jamie starting well. And Bushy Ants on those hard tyres won't have the pace in those opening laps, but will probably be happy enough with third position, and happy that VSC will actually keep the gaps down and give less chance for cars behind to overtake. As we'll see these cars come in, and the VSC, we won't get a warning on screen, but it will come in very, very soon, because it's been out for almost a lap, and it's Rutanius who will take the lead of this race and crosses the line. So it won't be any Grand Chelem from Jamie Mells, because Rutanius has led a lap of this race, and Jamie Mells will try to put the pressure on as much as possible through these opening parts of the race. Of course, Jamie Mells starting on that medium tyre, Rutanius starting on the soft tyre, so having an absolutely electric start. But Jamie Mells will try to cling on to that soft tyre. That soft tyre will start to fall off a cliff around lap 5, lap 6. And the mediums will come into their own. And just a little bit late on the brakes. Jamie Mells there, almost running into the back of the Scarlet Ferrari of Rutanius. And Bushy Ants already starting to feel the pressure from Rom here, the 4th place driver, going to look for a move into turn 6. Up the inside they go. So hard to run too wide. Jamie Mells actually looking for an overtake at the sharp end of this grid and gets the job done. So a very, very nice car position there, as SRM also up into 3rd position. So Rutanius not being able to make the most of those soft tyres, and Jamie Mells sneaking back through. There's all sorts of shifting going on behind, as Bushy Ants has lost a few positions actually out of all of that, and Marcus also sneaks through. So those hard tyres really not performing well at the start of this race. And who else is doing well? Hayden Gillis up, and it's Issue spins, so falling down the order is Issue, the McLaren driver. Hayden Gillis getting to number positions. Alpines were currently running in 6th and 7th. So we have a full safety car. So Issue has collided with Infratic. So after a good start there, Infratic, Fabio missing out on qualifying, and that is the end of his day. A disappointing weekend for Infratic there. At least that frees up Saturday night for him. And 16th place is Infratic there. That's very disappointing for them. Issue making contact. I believe they must have made contact with each other. Maybe Issue trying to rejoin the grid, causing a collision there. So Issue's fallen down from a relatively good qualifying position. And this, who is this good for? I think this is good for the hard runners. So Inf was one of the hard runners, at least he was at the start of the race. He's running in 9th position, and Bushy Ants, the Alpine driver, also running the hard tyres. And I think this is a good thing for the hard drivers because it keeps them more in contention with their medium runners. The medium runners don't get to use the absolute best of the tyre life to create gaps, and Bushy Ants won't fall further down the field. But you have to think that if those Alpines are working together, he'd let Hayden through, because the medium tyre, you don't want to be clogged up behind the hard tyre. But I don't know how closely the Bushy Ants and Hayden are working together for this one. Marcus in 5th position, he's done well. So let's have a look at the winners and losers. Jamie Mells did fall down the order, didn't have a good a start as Rutanius, but Rutanius managing, a bit of a desync there, a bit of a heart stop moment for Vom. Rutanius up 2 positions from the start of this race, qualified in 4th and got up to 2nd. Vom into 3rd position here on those medium tyres, gained 4 positions from the start. SR Rom losing out a place at the start of this race. Marcus up 1 place, Bushy up down 4, but on a pair of hard tyres, so you kind of expect them to go backwards. Less pit stops is the thing here though, if running that hard to medium strategy, and see if they can gain well through the traffic and through the rest of this race. I think a safety car early on is actually pretty decent for a hard runner. Hayden Gillis in 7th position, up 2 positions. Larson up 2 positions from 10th place. Infinity down 1 position on that hard tyre, not doing too bad there. Little Carlos up 6 positions, so our biggest gainers to still be in the race. I think Emphatic had gained quite a number of positions also, but unfortunately had that contact, I believe, with Isio on the exit of turn 9. The reprofiled turn 9, Isio just stamping on the power a little bit too early, spinning out, and then a resultant collision between those 2 drivers. So disappointing for Emphatic, as I said earlier. Savs, though, is in 11th, and it says he's gained 1 place, but it also gives the dash graphic, so I have no idea what's going on there. Let's just say qualified 11th. Kunst is in 12th, PW Jones in 13th, Victorious 14th, Hacko DK in 15th, Dirk Chocolate falling way down the order. And let's actually just have a quick look at the tyre life as Liam is at the back of the grid, and it's our 2nd place in the championship. Liam really not doing well in the early stages here, and Dirk Chocolate has pitted for new tyres, so has PW Jones. Liam, Victorious, Hacko, that's a really weird way to say that. Everyone from 12th below has pitted for new tyres, so not on the tyres they started this race on. All the grid is back together. Expect at the end of next straight we get the safety car in this lap message, and I'll take a quick breather because I've spoken completely since the start of the race. So safety car in this lap message here. There we are. As predicted, I'm a god. I can presume when the safety car is coming back in, and if that was my godly power, then I'm very disappointed. Retaining us in 2nd, Vom in 3rd. So let's ride on board for Jamie Mills. Let's make sure it's one clean, concise return to racing. You don't want any stop, start, stop, start. That can cause carnage. And Jamie Mills, an absolute expert of reopening the race there, almost getting very close to the Armco on the inside of turn 11. And in control, as I call them an expert, they nearly make a mistake, but that's the commentator's curse. Avoided from Jamie, and just trying to slow down the grid as much as possible to let that safety car escape into the pits. And as soon as we get the message, I think Jamie Miles will step on it, expert at restarting races like this because of their experience leading races across leagues in the ExA. I'm sure other leagues too. They race in the crossplay division and ended the season really well. As they come out the final corner, it is a return to racing, and it looks like Vom is trying to make a move on a Rutanius, but just backs out of that one. And maybe it's, if Rom who's on Vom, and Marcus falling a little bit further behind those Ferrari drivers. And we have a yellow through the first 3 corners, and it looks like Hacko and OS Infinity have come to blows through that corner, maybe not with each other, but Dirk Chocolate now up to 14th place thanks to that, and Jamie Mells looking to extend the lead, and it's actually Rutanius who's going to be under pressure from the AlphaTauri driver of Vom here, and there's going to be a bit of DRS burn from Vom to try and create an opportunity at the end of the straight. I don't think they're going to be close enough as they come into turn 6 and 7. And we'll have a look down and see if there's any other moves being made further down. McLaren driver looking to the inside, but it'll be an ambitious one from there. I don't think they're going to be making a place, but Vom now trying to line up the exit of turn 7. Through turn 8 they go. On the run into that turn 9, there is movement between Larsen and the Mercedes here of Savso, and Savso is going to try and send it a long way around the outside. Runs really, really wide, but will they have the momentum and carry it through the corner? That will be the inside, and Haas actually backs out of that one, doesn't try to fight it. So Savso up to 8th place, and PW Jones also fighting further down the order and getting 10th place off of Little Carlos, so into points paying positions. PW Jones goes, and Fom did actually make a move on Rutanius there, so Fom into 2nd position in this race as it's a yellow flag through sector 3, and it looks like Bushy Ants has made a mistake on those hard tyres, fallen down the order. Into 9th position they go, and there's another safety car, 2 safety cars within 6 laps. Oh no, what were we in for? So it is Bushy Ants, and it's Marcus, and Marcus who was out of the race here, so maybe Marcus and the Alpine of Bushy Ants who had a collision there, and it looks like Bushy Ants will need to come into pits for a new wing change, and definitely a change of strategy, because those hard tyres were optimally going to run to lap 30 to 40, and then a switch to medium. I think he'll have to convert this to maybe a medium strategy from here. The mediums will probably just about make it, but maybe a soft stint somewhere in here would be appreciated. But Bushy, who was looking good to gain some points on the championship on their rival Liam, just 8 points behind Liam in the championship, would have hoped to try to make up ground there, but of course there's a long way to go to reset. We'll have a change in strategy from the Alpine driver, and let's see where they can come up to. So if you're new to our EXA streams, please drop us a follow. We also have Discord links in the About section to join the Discord. We also have our social medias that will pop up on stream occasionally. And this is lap 6 of the Choco League. In partnership with Sim Racing Centre, we have 52 laps to go. Yes, quick maths. Woohoo. I'm only an engineer by trade. I don't need to know maths. So Bushy Ants is going to come into the pits here and going to lose a whole heap of positions, possibly back of the grid. Little Carlos, actually, it's down to 15th position, so they've made a mistake somewhere as well. And OS Infinity also trundling towards the back of the grid here. And we have some other cars also opting to pit. Dirk Chocolate is one of those. Dirk Chocolate is switching onto the hard tyre and getting a front wing change. So they've had contact somewhere. Dirk Chocolate switching onto the hard tyre here, so they'll try and run as long as possible. Hako puts on a pair of softs, so they're going to go aggressive out of here, just getting out in front of Bushy Ants here. So Bushy Ants having a slow pit stop because of that wing change. Hako, I don't think, did require a wing change, has gone onto a pair of softs, so that'll be interesting to see how he can progress through the field there. Bushy Ants starting on the hards to switch to a pair of mediums, may be able to go medium through the rest of this race, but won't be optimal. The good thing is that anyone running medium to hard, they'll have to switch to hard for him, and they'll be slower for a bit until the mediums go past their best. So very much as we were. I don't think the safety car will be in this lap. I think we'll have one more lap of safety car. The Mercedes AMG safety car in use at the Yas Marina Circuit today, and yeah, it's very much a tricky time, I believe. So I find safety cars very tricky. Just so easy to have a little lapse of concentration, be caught out by the over or under speed of a car in front, and make a little contact. You know, maybe even ignore the delta messages. One of the worst things I always find is that you start to think about what strategy you do. Oh, the safety car comes out. What strategy you do? What's the strategy to do? And then suddenly you realise, oh, I haven't paid any attention to delta, and I've got a drive through. So there will be no strategy change, or there will be a strategy change, but I'll be doing a drive through straight after and hoping on hope that there is a safety car. So yes. Anyway, Fom in 2nd position. JML's in 1st, Rutanius in 3rd, and we have Dirk Chocolate right at the back of the grid here. You know, got to stay in it to win it. We've already had 4 cars drop out of the race through collision and or incident racing on the first lap of the race, and actually Dirk Chocolate is changing their strategy, so perhaps looking to go onto a pair of soft tyres here. Let's see. So let's see. There's no wing change, so it is just a change of strategy. Get those hards out of the way, and maybe follow the bushy ant stretch of medium to the end of the race. Is I believe what that will be. I think Dirk Chocolate started on the soft tyre, so the soft stripe tyre. So maybe just a mistake to go on the hards, because he could have realistically gone onto the medium and then go onto the medium later on in the race, but opting to get off those hards because we have had so many cars struggle on them. Kunst is the only driver out there in 10th position running them at the moment. They're very, very tricky on the higher fuel loads. Of course, it's a 100% race, so you have the fuel load for 58 laps around here. That can be slowed down, and I think we will have the safety car in this lap. It won't say it now, but as soon as Dirk Chocolate joins the back of the field, the Snake currently coming through 6 and 7 now and through turn 8, I think obviously now, anytime now, the safety car will come in and anyone on a hard pair of tyres just start weaving like mad, because it's all the way through the final sector that the message could be triggered. And as Dirk Chocolate picks up the pace and joins the back of the grid, we'll definitely have a safety car in this lap. So let's follow on board with Jamie Mells, who hasn't started warming up their tyres yet, hasn't quite realised it's Dirk Chocolate joins the back of the grid. We have the safety car in this lap message. Again, I'm a god of calling when safety cars are going to come in, which is the worst power ever. So let's have another go at this. Let's have another chance at a few clean laps of racing, shall we? Jamie Mells through the final sector here, trying to get a little bit of heat desperately in their tyres. And safety car breeds safety cars, but Jamie Mells in control of the pack here. The safety cars returned to the pit lane, and let's see where Jamie Mells decides to pick up the traction here. He picks it up at the exit of the corner. A little bit of a squirrely moment there, but I think not going to be under pressure from here. Actually have dropped the Ferraris, and those Ferraris running very, very close to each other. Of course, they came to blows through the first corner and on the first lap, the two Ferrari drivers. And Hayden Gillis in 5th position here, so having a decent race here. And, there's a Ferrari going wide through turn 4. So, they have not gone wide, they've spun out. And it is Rutanius, the Ferrari driver Rutanius, falling out down into 16th position from 3rd position in the race. And does pick it up. We have green flags being waved again. And we have a Haas driver looking for a possible overtake on the car back here. It'll be Hacko on those soft tyres looking for a move on the Alpine. It'll be a bit far back from here, but we have Fom under a bit of pressure too at the front. Fom under pressure from the Ferrari of SR Rom, but again I think that's a bit too far back as Victorious Dirk Chocolate both get past Infinity, because Infinity has made a mistake and is running off the track. So Rutanius is even up past Infinity. Infinity at the back of the grid here. And we have Hayden Gillis, who's made a place up into 4th position. So Hayden Gillis up into 4th. The Alpine driver now looking to get after the race leader. The only other driver to win a race this season is Hayden, of course, in the Kota race. And we have a yellow through Sector 3. And it's Jamie Mells. Jamie Mells has dropped it through Sector 3. And they're going to be having to pit, I'm sure. They've got wing damage, so they're going to have to pit here from the lead of the race. And it's actually a collision between SR Rom, I believe, because SR Rom also picks up damage. So those two drivers must have had some kind of collision, or maybe Jamie Mells dropping it and SR Rom crashing into the back of them, because that is a wing change for both of those. And now it's Fom in 1st position. And Hayden Gillis, the only other person to win a race this year, is about to take the lead of the race. As they come to turn 5, he's going to have to go around the outside of Fom here. And these two racing drivers are going to be neck and neck on the exit. And I think Hayden gets the better exit. And they're going to both be doing a bit of ERS burn to trying to get to 1st position by the start of turn 6 and 7. And now actually Larsen looking to make a move on Fom. So he does go very late on the brakes and does get the car stopped here. So Larsen looking at making progress here and up into 2nd position. Fom goes from 1st to 3rd in a matter of only a handful of corners. And it's Fom actually falling down further down. Safso has got to bet the exit of turn 7 and is going to go around the outside. No, he's got the job done. So PW Jones up into 5th place here, and Bushy Ant somehow back up into 6th after their moment a few safety cars ago. So Bushiant in 6th position, in 5th position, getting past PW Jones, but PW Jones tries to stick two wheels in going into turn 12. That was never going to happen, and Bushiant takes 5th position here. So the Alpine's running well. Hayden Gillis in 1st position, the lead of this race from Bushiant after Jamie Mells makes a very uncharacteristic mistake and now has to go on a pair of hards, long on a pair of hards, and Bushiant actually up into 4th, so making a move on Fom. No, Fom has fallen down here. Fom has made a mistake, so Fom down into 10th position, and coming into pits is Fom, so that's why Fom has fallen down the order, and PW Jones also up to 5th because of that. So Bushiant has switched on to a newer pair of mediums, will have better traction with the cars ahead, and of course the cars ahead will have to pit, so will Bushiant again later on in the race, and maybe we'll just try to match the strategy of the cars around him. Bushiant starting on the hard tyres will have another medium to pit onto, and it's Savzo looking to try and make a move on Hayden, isn't it? No, it's Larsen who's made a move on Hayden. So Hayden, how is Hayden so lucky, really, is asking. Not so, because Larsen's made a move, but going very deep on the brakes was Larsen, the Haas driver there, and Hayden will have DRS. No, DRS is active this lap, so we'll have DRS here. So DRS to aid this overtake possibly here. He'll have to go the long way around, and this fighting is bringing Bushy more and more into it. And who will have the better traction through turn 9? Can Hayden just about keep a front winging? He can. That will be the inside for turn 10, 11 and 12. And Hayden gets the job done. So back into 1st position here, and some big fighting as there's a collision at the back. There's a car spun off. It is Infinity spun off at the exit of turn 9. An absolutely supreme move from Hayden Gillis. I completely agree, Rowley. So good racing from Hayden. Into 1st position he goes, but it will be an absolute fight to keep Larsen behind. Larsen's shown the pace, but now Bushiant can come and help his teammate out by attacking Larsen, put Larsen on the back foot, and maybe create a little bit of a gap for Hayden, as Bushiant has dispatched Savzo on that past lap, and Bushiant is absolutely looking for a way back to the summit of this race, and has clawed their way back after a moment through on the first few laps. SR Rum setting the fastest lap of the race on the medium tyres, and there's contact from the Haas and Alpine driver, just not leaving leaving each other enough space, but the DRS creating quite a lot of overspeed, and it could be Hayden who is under pressure here at turn 6, and it is Hayden going to have to go and leave space for the Haas driver. Can they keep clean through there? They do, and Larsen has the better chance through there, and also doesn't pick up DRS, so the Alpine driver Bushiant trying to attack here, and they'll go 3 wide into turn 9, will they? Well, they certainly will try, and Bushiant is not able to attack because Hayden Gillis has squeezed their way through turn 1, and Larsen tried to defend on the outside, think, well, you did it last time, and actually no, Hayden showed the absolute skill it takes to defend around the outside at turn 9 on equal compound tyres. So Hayden just managing to cling on to 1st position, and as they started lap 12 at the end of lap 12 after a fair few number of overtakes between the 3 drivers. So let's see, Bushiant will surely be screaming to get by. So as actually Hayden makes a little bit of a mistake out of turn 16, and they go 3 wide, do they? No, Hayden loses out in 2nd position, and Bushiant pulls out of that one. So Bushiant did not manage to get his teammate, but they do try to go 2 wide through turn 2, and they'll be losing a whole heap of time fighting each other. So they should just work together, the Alpine teammates fighting like they do in real life, and Bushiant into 2nd position. So now Bushiant will chase down Larsen on the 6-lap fresher compound of medium tyre. Of course, Bushiant starting on the hard tyre, falling down the order after a mistake, but coming back through thanks to a couple of safety cars and mistakes from others. And now Bushiant will try to close down on Larsen, but Larsen managing to maintain that gap. I wonder if there's a ERS usage there. It may be a little bit, but they've still got 70% charge compared to the 59% of Bushiant, and it's good top-end speed from the Haas driver here. So Hayden Gillis led the race for a handful of laps there, but has finally had to surrender to the teammates, and Bushiant is going to kind of close down, but it won't be enough, and Larsen has to defend from another Alpine driver. Now, if they do have better top-end speed, you'd expect that Larsen would struggle through this final sector, because top-end speed requires a less draggy car, which means less downforce on the car, and Larsen will struggle massively through the final sector, but it's actually Bushiant who is struggling to get the traction down out of turn 14, through 15 they go, and through the final corner of turn 16 to start lap 14. It's some frenetic racing from these 3 drivers. Behind, we have Liam up into 6th position, climbing the order after a difficult qualifying session, left him out at Q2. And the 2nd place driver in the championship would actually be the highest placed of the top 3 to go through. Savs, though, is, of course, equal on points with Bushy Ants in the championship, so that's not correct at all. Savzo up in front of Liam, and the Mercedes drivers having a wonderful day, as are the Alpine drivers, as Bushy Ants now right behind Larsen. Let's see if they have the pace to attack into turn 6. They go side by side, and I think this could be done by the braking zone, which is good for Bushy Ants because Bushy Ants won't be compromised on the exit of turn 6 and 7. And a little bit of a lock-up, though, from Bushy means that he went deep into turn 6, and that will leave him open to attack from Larsen, because Larsen will get the DRS here, and he'll try and attack on the outside. I'm sure Bushy will defend the inside as much as possible, and actually Larsen doesn't have the speed there quite, so Bushy Ants must have used a little bit more EOS to defend that position. And this is really, really good racing. Yeah, absolutely agree, Rowley. This is such nice racing. Wow, absolutely agree. Great racing from Bushy, Larsen, Hayden. And let's see if Jamie Mells can progress back through the field. Dirk Chocolate up into 7th position after making that pit last time around. Right at the back of the race he was on at lap 6, on lap 8, and has made himself up into 7th position. And really at the back of this fight, there is a chain of cars here, all the way down to 9th position, all within DRS range of one another, so anything could happen here and turn on its head. Safso just dropping outside the DRS range of Hayden, and will be doing everything to stay within it, because that DRS will be very, very useful to defend from the attack of Larsen. And Larsen actually is the car that falls out of range of Bushy Ants here, so Larsen now will be back under attack from Hayden. Won't pick up DRS on the exit here. Maybe we'll use a little bit more EOS, but it's actually Larsen who is, this is what F1 should be like in real life. If only we could set it to equal in real life. So Larsen, oh wait, that's IndyCar. Larsen is in 2nd position and is going to be under attack from Hayden here. Hayden and Larsen both starting the race on these medium compound tyres. So have similar age tyres, and Hayden closing and closing and closing. I don't think this is going to be quite close enough, but we've seen Hayden go for a move into turn 9 before. Late on the brakes he goes and runs very, very wide. Larsen will try and switch back under him and does get the job done there, leaving each other next to no room, but just about clean as they come through turn 12. And that was tight racing from the Haas and Alpine driver, but that battling between Larsen and Hayden will be music to Bushy's ears, because he'll just be able to extend the gap at the front of this race and try to control it. Meanwhile, Jamie Mells is in 12th position. Dirk Chocolate picks up a 3-second time penalty, one of 2 drivers to have a penalty at this stage of the race. So extending track limits too much has got the 3 warnings and has a penalty, as Hayden tries to go for a move into turn 1. Larsen having a bit of a tardy exit, but it is good to go for a move into turn 1. You get a position, but now will be immediately under attack as soon as they reach the main straight after this next set of corners, turn 5. Please do follow us on our socials if you are interested. As we come to turn 5, Larsen will be 7 tenths back away from Hayden, but seemingly starting to struggle on these tyres. And has DRS, so you can see that gap close. It's actually Safso who's very, very close to the back of the Haas. Larsen has to go defensive, and Safso will try to go around the outside here. The Mercedes driver becoming part of this fight for the first time today, and he does get the job done. So we'll get DRS from the car in front, so that will help him defend from behind. And if Savso can move forward, that would be great. But it's BW Jones, who is now moving up into 4th position here, has 2 lap fresher mediums and using them to his advantage as Larsen falling backwards into the clutches of Dirk Chocolate will be the next car to go for him. But Larsen can now try and recover from the mistake, and we know Larsen's got the pace to lead this race. Raced really well with Hayden and Bushy on the opening stint, through the opening part of this race after that second safety car. So Dirk Chocolate is now only 5 tenths behind. Look how much the battling costs though. Hayden is now 4 seconds behind his teammate, of course on older tyres, so you'd expect that gap to open up a little bit, but battling around here costs so much time. There's no easy overtakes around here. They're all forced because of the technicality of those overtaking areas. Even though they're at the end of the long straight, they're through a difficult chicane at 6 or 7. They're around turn 9, that long sweeping corner where you can lose a lot of time deceptively, and if you try and go for a move through 11 and 12, you are losing a whole heap of time. Now Hayden will just try to keep Savso time behind and minimise the time, and PW Jones actually makes some moves on Savso. So PW Jones will have DOS, will be over a second here, and if Hayden can... Oh, and Jamie Mells is out of the race! SR Rum and Jamie Mells have come to blows, and there's... so Jamie Mells will not continue their streak, as we have a third safety car of the day. Only 13 runners left in this race, with 17 laps done, and it is... Jamie Mells out the race. Surely some kind of collision between SR Rom and Jamie Mells there, as they both go out the race together, the Ferrari driver and the Ferrari engine driver of Jamie Mells, maybe just giving it a kiss of death, because a Ferrari engine never run around here in real life, and currently we only have the highest Ferrari engined car is the Haas of Larsen in 6th position. So the top 4, top 4 being Mercedes, top 5th position in Red Bull, of course, the Red Bull Dark Chocolate, and in 5th position. So let's see if the top drivers decide to pit. Bushy doesn't, of course. Hayden will decide to pit. PW Jones also follows suit. Savso looking to follow suit too. Dirk Chocolate stays out, so Dirk Chocolate will rocket himself up into 2nd position here. So pitting on the same lap as Bushy Ants, well, just a lap after, in fact, and will be in 2nd position for the next part of this race. Will absolutely be under attack. I think everyone behind him has pitted, and I don't think anyone has gone through. So Bushy and Dirk will be under massive pressure through the next few laps. Oh, and we have 30 laps to go. Is it 30 or is it 40? I should be able to 28, 38, 48. Yeah, it's 40. Okay, so yeah, 40 laps to go. Not even at race distance, half race distance yet. We've had 3 different contenders for 3 different safety cars. We've had Jamie Mells leading the first 8 laps, but making a mistake on lap 9. That sent them down in order, switching to hard tyres, which he ran for 7 laps before crashing, presumably with SR Rom, to cause the safety car, because Jamie Mells looks like they have the overtake on SR Rom graphic. Maybe SR Rom span out, possibly, and Jamie Mells came to blow, but we'll have to see what happened with that after the race, with the stewards missing that part of the action further down the field, as we focused on the fight between Bushy, PW Jones and Hayden. Now Hayden Gillis will be the car to make up places here in the early part of this race, and Hayden, the only other race runner apart from Jamie Mells throughout this season, throughout the first 4 races of this season, of course winning back in Kota, maybe fortuitously coming towards them at the end of the race due to other cars having penalties and DNF, but you got to be in it to win it, and sometimes the sea opens up and things go your way, and that's certainly what happened for Hayden at Kota, and this looks to have worked nicely for him, as the safety car came out on lap 18, firmly in the pit stop range for the medium tyre, and we'll see how long he'll run these mediums for. I think it's a medium soft strategy for Hayden, starting on the mediums, running on the mediums, will need to pit again. He is locked into a 2-stop strategy here. PW Jones, I'm not sure, because they pitted a bit earlier, so they may have started on a different tyre. But I mean, medium tyres aren't going to the end here anyway. Even if you tried, I think they'd blow up. It's a long way to go. And Larsen in 6th, Savso in 7th. So Savso is quite far up. Liam in 10th. So Liam and Savso are high up in the championship standings, but Bushy Ant, of course, in the lead of the championship, in the lead of the championship, in the lead of the race, and in 3rd place in the championship. If things finished as they were, they'd be taking a big chunk out of 1st position, and it could be a good day for Liam and Bushy to close up the title order here a bit, because currently Jamie Mells going into the race had a 26-point gap to Liam. Now Liam, if they could pick up fastest lap and a win, would be tied on points behind on count point with race wins, of course, because Jamie Ross has 3 and it would be Liam having 1 in that scenario. They'd be tied going into round 6, And round 6. Where's round 6, Rowley? Rowley, you'll know where round 6 is, won't you? I want to say Jeddah, but I'm not too sure. It is, but we have a McLaren way far down the order. So I may just take this brief lull in activity to take a really quick comfort break, and I'll be back in the next minute. So we're back in this one. The McLaren's gone through the pits again. We'll see if the safety car's going to come in this lap. But if we don't get the message at the end of the straight, we'll have to presume it's out for another lap here. And safety car is in this lap, so that McLaren are victorious. Has pitted for a hard tyre, but they're going to be so far off the back here. And maybe not wise to actually switch strategy onto the hards. Maybe they had a little mistake or was just away when they did. But Bushiance takes control of this leader's race. And it's going to be difficult for these first two drivers, Bushiance and Dirk Chocolate, in the first and second, as they'll go on to lap 21. But it'll be very difficult to keep this storm behind them from kind of in the middle of that on 9-lap old used mediums. So they've switched on to used mediums. So it won't have quite the same pace as the cars around. Actually expect FOM to go backwards here. Hayden Gillis will be looking to make progress massively as Bushiance picks up the pace and restarts the race on lap 21. It is Dirk Chocolate behind, and behind him Hayden Gillis trying to make a move into turn 1. No, too far back, and they were as they go through the first set of corners. Don't think anyone close enough to make a move in these opening set of corners. Quite strung out actually, and Hayden Gillis looking very racy with Dirk Chocolate and going up to the inside of turn 5 on Dirk Chocolate. Dirk Chocolate will have to hang out on the outside, just about keeps a wing in. Hayden recognises that, leaves space, but now Dirk Chocolate will have to use EOS to move forward. I think Dirk Chocolate knows the battle lays behind, not in front, so we'll just try to keep out of that one. And Larsen and FOM going wheel to wheel into turn 6. Larsen going to try and go around the outside of the AlphaTauri driver, and FOM is a little bit of a contact from the Mercedes behind us, Savs though, and a little bit of jerking all over the place, to be honest. So maybe a bit of desync mixed in, and FOM looks like he's just going to maintain this one unless Larsen can chuck it around the outside. Can't, and actually needs to leave space for Savs though up the inside, but Larsen will have the inside for turns 10, 11 and 12 and leaves just about enough space. So hard to run too wide, and actually Savs though will feel like they were pushed off the track there because there was just a little bit of contact into turn 10. But at the front, Hayden Gillis has got past Dirk Chocolate, and Dirk Chocolate has maintained in front of PW Jones, but Dirk Chocolate already has fallen out of the DRS of the two cars in front, so not showing the pace of the Alpines. It could be very good for Alpine in the championship as it stands, as they would close down and take the lead of the constructors. But of course we have more than half race distance to go, so who knows what would go on. PW Jones will now try to close down on Dirk Chocolate, and I wonder if Hayden and Bushy will just try to work together here, maybe unlock Hayden, or these two drivers will fight it out. Savso now taking Larsen, so Savso has got by Larsen, and actually Larsen had a bit of a lousy exit of turn 5, and it's the Aston Martin driver of Kuntz trying to go around the outside and through turn 7. At turn 6 they go, and Larsen will stick it up the inside. Brakes a lot later. We've seen him late on the brakes there, but actually being marginalised out there, and Kunz takes the position. So a bit of challenging circumstances for Larsen there. Expected them to go forward, but actually falling further and further down the field as now the Scarlet Ferrari of Rutenius takes 8th position, and Larsen has fell down into 9th. And Hayden Gillis not managing to get past a teammate of Bushiant, maybe opting to work together. Hayden Gillis, of course, 5th in the championship. These two drivers could very much end up in 2nd and 3rd of the championship if things finished as they were. Safso in 6th wouldn't gain too many points, and Liam now out of the top 10. I think just being overtook by Hako DK, and DRS is now enabled as we've had 2 laps since the safety car came in on lap 21, and there's a Haas having a bit of a desync issue there, and Hako maybe looking for a move around the outside, and Liam goes absolutely charging in and manages to avoid the sidewall of Daka there, and there's a massive wing damage there. So Larsen's car desyncing and has caused Hako to lose her front wing. So Hako falling down. No, it's Larsen who's lost her front wing. So I don't know if that was like a brake check or something. It was very strange. Well, it wasn't a brake check, but a desync check, let's say, because a very strange moment between Hako and Larsen. Anyway, back to the front of the grid. PW Jones has got past Dirk Chocolate now. So PW Jones using DRS to get past Dirk Chocolate. And now Thom and Dirk Chocolate will go and attack each other, the two content streamers. And Thom trying to get around Dirk has actually lost a position for Savslo. So if you don't go forwards, you go backwards. And Savslo knows that. They're going up into 4th position, up the inside of turn 9. And it's good job by Savslo, who is now looking at PW Jones as the next car to overtake, and then going after the Alpines. That's the summit of this race. So that is a good point. Thom just got a little bit pushed out wide by Dirk Chocolate there. Well, I wouldn't say pushed out wide, but just tried to go for a move that wasn't quite there and fell behind Dirk, and also lost momentum and fell behind Safso, who then went and charged by the Red Bull of Dirk. As we start lap 24, Bushiant and Hayden Gillis still lapping within each other. You have to think that they are working together to build a gap, but PW Jones is actually slowly crawling down, pulling that gap down. That was 2 seconds, so maybe they should allow Hayden to go through. Maybe they should allow Hayden to go through, and Bushy can keep the car behind. But I think Bushy is just... I don't think there's team orders here. That's what's going on. I don't think they're working against each other, but I don't think they're working for each other. As PW Jones under pressure from the Mercedes of Safso. Let's see who he has a better exit of turn 7 here. And Victorious gets in front of Larsen. Larsen has pitted for a pair of softs, as Safso now going after the Williams and looking to the inside and getting the move done at turn 9. So PW Jones down into 4th. The Welsh driver is now being overtook by Safso. Through third, up to 3rd position he goes, and now will chase after the cars in front. And Hayden Gillis right up, tucked up behind the rear wing of his teammate here, and will desperately want to be unlocked soon, because the pace behind will be scintillating, I'm sure, from Safso here to try and chase after the lead of this race. Of course, Safso and Bushiant split only by positions, by countback of podium positions in the championship. For 3rd place at the moment, Bushiant in 3rd and Safso in 4th, both on 44 points. And Safso will love to be the driver to close that gap to Jamie Mells, as Jamie Mells has retired from the race. 7 laps on hards was too much. They had a collision with SR on, put them out of the race, bringing out the 3rd safety car in this race. Lap 13. Not lap 13. 13 runners are left in the race, and the Alpine of Hayden just can't. I don't know. It doesn't seem like they're wanting to attack each other, to be honest, because Hayden has a lot of ERS left. So does Bushy. I think they're just kind of playing the game together, not attacking each other, knowing that if these two teammates work together, just try to keep a gap of the cars behind, then that will be enough to carry them over through the next stage of this race, whether that's the tyre change, the pit strategy coming into play, when Bushiant will have to pit 10 laps earlier than Hayden, because Hayden, of course, pitted 10 laps after in the 3rd safety car. Bushy starting on that hard tyre. I mean, Bushy, theoretically, if he could somehow magically make the mediums go to lap 58. That would be a 50 lap stint. It's not going to happen. If he could do a 50 lap stint, then Bushy Ants wouldn't have to pit again. But that's not going to happen, so let's not even think about it. Definitely more stops to come from everyone in the field. Maybe Victorious could get to the end on that hard pair of tyres, but I think everyone else on the field will have to pit again. So we still have pit stops left in this if we see a number of penalties come through the order here. And Dark Chocolate hasn't fallen far too far back here, but Rutanius does look for a move into turn 5, and the fresher medium tyres make that move quite simple for him. So up into this position goes Rutanius, and Dark Chocolate falling down to 6th and now losing a place to Fom. So just being pushed on the fly through turn 5 has given the run to Fom, and Fom will try and chase after Rutanius. But those two drivers actually running mediums that have similar length and age. Fom doing well on a 15-lap old pair of mediums there. So just using, cannily using the impetus from Rutanius's attack on Dark Chocolate to make a move. And actually Fom putting a bit of pressure on Rutanius here at the end of the second DRS straight. And Hayden Gillis has took the lead of the race here. So Hayden Gillis into turn 9 has took the lead of the race from Bushy Ants. So let's see if Hayden Gillis can just pull out a bit of extra lap time here compared to his teammate through this tricky final sector. You see the gap growing and growing as we have Larsen, who has it's a Haas of Hacko actually, who was spun at turn 9 at the entry to turn 9. A strange place to spin, I must say. And Hayden Gillis is up into first position and almost out of the DRS range of Bushy Ants. So Bushy Ants and Hayden not working too close together here, but maybe Hayden actually just backing off a little bit there to give DRS to their teammate. So doing the team game, and will hopefully pull a gap out on Safso. Safso doesn't dip into DRS range, so they still have that arm's length over the Mercedes driver as they come down into turn 6, the end of the DRS straight. It's the Alpines doing well, and Hacko's DNF from the race. So Hacko's DNF'd in the pits. So we have 12 runners left on lap 27 in this Choco League. And some very good racing at the summit, but quite a few number of DNFs so far. And Safso actually under a bit of pressure from PW Jones here. And I think Safso still just out of that DRS range. And Bushy Ants is maybe being held up a little bit through here. So yes, we have nearly, well, we are over halfway. No, we aren't. Lap 29 would be halfway distance, so we're just under halfway distance. We have a DNF. Okay, that would be Hacko, who's DNF'd in the pits, but it's come out the pit lane because F122. And Bushy Ants is in second position here and just trying to cling on to Hayden Gillis. But the crucial thing is here, Safso has actually closed down these Alpines. So Hayden Gillis seemingly doesn't have the pace to pull away from Safso here. And Bushy Ants probably needs to start playing a bit of a blocking game for his teammate. Now, Bushy will have DRS. Safso will have DRS. Hayden won't have DRS. But if Bushy can place his car in the right positions here, he should be able to use the DRS to just defend and get a bit of a truly train going. Of course, what Jonathan Ledyard used to call any kind of combination of cars with Jarno Trullian, because he was so good at defending but not very good at overtaking, let's be honest. But Bushy Ants in second position here, and this is what's going to be happening. Is Bushy Ants going to try and go for a move on his teammate? Actually very, very close, and maybe this isn't the plan. Maybe they aren't working together at all, and Bushy Ants does take an aggressive stance there, but turn 9, Hayden Gillis, an absolute master of it, but a little bit of a traction slip up out of there, and Bushy Ants doesn't think anything of that. And Hayden Gillis actually running wide here. So Safso right on the tail of these two fighting Alpines. They need to get their story straight. Work together, or not work together, because Hayden has a big moment out of turn 14. And Bushy Ants is now right behind. So is Safso. Rutanius is catching up too. So this has brought in the other cars here. They've not been able to extend their gap, the two Alpine drivers. And they're now well within DRS range. And Safso is very much behind these Alpine drivers. And Hayden Gillis, who is just took the summit of the race, really struggling in the lead there, maybe with tyre temps being a little bit too high through that third sector, having a couple of moments through there after battling so hard with Bushy. And now Safso and Bushiance and Hayden that are split by less than a second. So this will be interesting into turn 6. Which way will this go? Will Bushiance try to make a move on his Alpine teammate? Of course. Actually, Bushy not opening DRS here. So he's definitely trying to play a tactical game here. Bushy not opening DRS for whatever reason there, but that means Safso is going to put him under pressure. Now he will open DRS, and he'll try to cling onto the inside line, but Safso seems to have a bit more overspeed here, and using maybe a little bit more ERS, will try to go around the outside at this corner, and these two cars will fight all the way around here, and Safso does manage to go all the way around the outside, and now Safso up into second position. The Merc driver will now chase after first place in this race. It's the top 6 cars following all very closely. Hayden down to Fom, all very, very closely. And actually, Safso looking for a move out of turn 14. That would be unorthodox, and he doesn't get that done. So we have half race distance done. Another half race distance to go, and hopefully a little bit quicker as we have less safety cars through the final parts of this race. But thanks for staying tuned with us. If you've watched us all the way through, remember we have different events throughout the week at the EXA, and the schedule will be posted after this stream. If you want to stay involved with the league, of course, join the Discord and make sure to follow along, and our socials will intermittently, if I can get my words out, intermittently pop up halfway through. So Savzo is in second position and looking to close down on Hayden, but Hayden is maybe just clinging on to a bit more EOS than Savzo here, and doesn't get the move done here, but it's going to be so difficult to defend from Savzo out of this stretch of track. So Hayden won't have DOS. Savzo, who is within a second, does, and will try to go around the outside, and Hayden just seeming to have the right speed there, but Savzo will go for the inside line. We've seen Hayden defend so valiantly around the outside, tries to keep a wheel in, does keep a wheel in. Will they try to go for the inside of turn 10, 11 and 12? They have, so Hayden clinging on to the lead of this race, just keeping it within track limits on the exit of 12, and Hayden remaining in 12th position. That is absolutely lovely stuff from him. We've seen him earlier on with Larsen going a long way around turn 9 and just keeping a wing in there, absolutely kept him in it. But of course that brings the cars behind in contention too, and Safso maybe under a bit of pressure from Hayden. From Bushy. No, actually Safso putting pressure on Hayden into turn 1, and it'll be as they were the lap before. Rutanius in 4th, PW Jones in 5th, Fom in 6th, and this battling will slowly bring in the Aston Martin driver, who will be sitting there thinking, battle a little more. So will Liam as well, because they're down in 8th and nearly on the back of this train, trying to make it through, and some really good, clean racing on display by these runners. All of the top 8 do not have any penalties so far. Now Savso will be closing down. Will they go for a move into turn 6? No. Opts to keep on the optimum line so they can be as fast as possible through here. And right behind the gearbox of Hayden Gillis is Savso, and this will be his best chance yet. And he'll opt to go around the outside, will he? No, maybe just play a bit of a dummy. Hayden will keep on the inside as much as possible, and Savso will try to have his own go at going around the outside, but it is not an easy job, and Hayden knows exactly where to place his car in offence and in defence. An absolute masterclass from Hayden here. Very nice stuff. So second position is still for Savso. He must feel so frustrated, thinking how did Hayden go around the outside and keep in it when I try and go around the outside? I just completely get pushed down. But Bushiance has peeled off and come into the pits. Almost missing the pit lane. And it is Fom who's trying to go too wide into the pits. Absolutely illegal move. Not illegal. Move, of course, but doesn't manage to get it done, that move. Just falling shortly behind, and onto the hard tyres goes Fom. Bushy Ants onto a second pair of medium. So won't have to stop again. Bushy Ants would be able to run to the end of the race if that's what they choose to do, because he did start on the hard tyre. Fom didn't start on the hard tyre, started on the soft or medium, I believe, and has opted to go on to the hard here, and he'll find it difficult. He will fall away in the opening stages, but hope those medium tyres start to feel like stinking meat on the rims of the other cars, and come back towards them later on. Now Hayden is under pressure again from Savso. it's round 3. Savso tries to go up the inside again, and Hayden has done a better job of staying around the outside, but has Savso finally got it done? I think he has. Hayden can't keep a front wing in there, and now he tries to go around the outside of turn 11 and 12, put the pressure on Savso in any way they can, and keeping a wheel in and trying to go up the inside at turn 13 and 14. Savso leading space for Hayden, and that's some great racing from the two. Some great counter-offensive work from Hayden, but not managing to pull it off, but does put the pressure on Savso, so they can't just pull away quite easily through that final sector, and Rutanius is just licking their lips behind, hoping that they may be coming to blows, and he can dodge through it and take the lead of this race. And actually Rutanius right up behind Hayden here. Hayden falling away from Savso. Savso clearly showing better pace at this part of the race. Savso will have to pit again, so will everyone in the top 6, truth be told. And Hayden Killis now under pressure from Rutanius, the Ferrari driver, driving to get into second position here, and looks to have had a better run out of turn 5. Will go up the inside for turn 6, and it will be, I think, completed. Both drivers have DRS. Hayden later on the brakes and just running a bit too deep, in fact, and they don't make contact out there, so Rutanius has a better drive out there, and then we'll try to close down on the race lead. So Hayden falling down into 3rd position. Since his Alpine teammate has pit, the cork has been let undone, and PW Jones doing well here in 4th position. Didn't qualify that far up the order, but has just kept his nose clean, kept in the race, and now running in 4th position. We'll see what the progress of Bushy is. Dirk Chocolate still running around on those pair mediums that he pitted for on lap 8. And in 7th position, so I think he's just hoping for a safety car. I'd call that goal hanging for a safety car in a kind of Valtteri Bottas type way. Savso, flirting with Jack Clements there, absolutely running his inside wheels on the outside line of the track. And Savso has the lead of the race, and was desperately trying to break away from Rutanius. I think he had the speed to do that with Hayden, but Rutanius is slowly crawling down here, and Rutanius only qualifying a little bit behind Jamie Mells, of course, and I think Victorious has had a moment, has he, through the flying left-right kinks of kind of flyaway corners, rather, of 2, 3 and 4. So Victorious had a bit of a moment through there. Savso is absolutely under pressure in here, and after fighting for so long with Hayden, getting by thinking, great, I can build a gap. Absolutely not. Rutanius makes mincemeat of Hayden almost immediately, gets by, and this will be very, very difficult for Savso to break away here. So let's see what that ERS uses off. So very similar levels of ERS. So both running in the 20% range. So both will try to build a bit of ERS. Hayden has spent quite a bit of his trying to cling on to that position for so long. Hayden, of course, the race winner from round 1 of the Chocoleague back in October, I believe. It's the round 1 in Kota. So run in somewhat fortuitous scenario where he was in 10th and the seas parted, a few collisions ahead, a few penalties ahead. But you know what? If you don't get those penalties and other cars do, then you've got a good chance if there's a late safety car. And actually, some good clean racing from the top 6 cars who all don't have a penalty. Bushy Ants from Larsen, the other cars who don't have a penalty. I've got half a feeling that Larsen is AI now, though, because of desync. It's somewhat. Rowley says somewhat. He was 8th going into the last lap. Well, yeah, but you know, crazy. It was somewhat fortuitous. Yeah, I don't want to call it all luck, but anyway, Rutanius is closing down on Savso. So this is as close as these two drivers have been while fighting for the lead of the race. Actually, Hayden has fallen out of DRS range of Rutanius, so he could be under pressure from PW Jones very soon. The Welsh driver looking to get into those podium position, the final podium position spot. And PW Jones is currently, where is he in the championship? He's in 13th in the championship, so this would be a big boon to his championship standings, push him quite far up. Of course, Savso would also really like to maintain this lead he has at the moment. Savso currently running in 1st position and in 4th place in the championship, split with points with Bushy Ants. Bushy Ants pitting earlier because he is running a different strategy from the cars around him. Mediums will probably not go to the end, so maybe we'll have to switch to a softs. Did run the hards at the start. I think he was going to go for a hard medium strategy, but had to ditch the hards due to a front wing incident, an incident which made him lose his front wing rather. And Rutanius now just trying to crank up the pressure on the Mercedes driver, and actually the pressure starting to show. Savso picking up a penalty there, so as things stand on the road, he'd be down in 4th position. So that penalty being a massive mistake there. Yeah, well, that is true, really. He will be doing a massive undercut on the cars around him, but the tyre offset later on the race will be so that he will be running very dry tyres. Now, Rutanius will just want to get around Savso as safely as possible and not waste too much time here, and running out all of that exit curve there nicely to try and minimise his line. Dirk Chocolate picking up another 6-second penalty. I believe that's that 3-second penalty, so I believe that's 6 seconds for that driver. Let's find the correct way of doing that. So it's 6 seconds for Dirk Chocolate. Lil Carlos has 14 seconds. Victorious have 13 seconds. A few of those must be 5-second penalties, which they could remove at the pit stop. Yeah, it must be multiples of 12, or 3 even if it's none of those are 5-second penalties. So here we are. Rutanius still stuck behind Savso. So Savso doing quite a nice job of keeping Rutanius behind, but you can see Rutanius just starting to eke out a little bit more ERS than Savso. So putting Savso under pressure, making him make that mistake to cut a corner and get that 3-second penalty. Now I have no idea how many warnings Rutanius has had. He may be flirting with 3 himself, or he may have none, but he's just trying to put the pressure on Savso. And we have a car in the wall at turn 10, but resuming and returning to the racetrack. It's Victorious at the back of the grid as we focus on this battle at the front. Hayden Gillis only 2 seconds behind this battle and managed to keep PW Jones behind. So PW Jones and him racing fairly, and it's Rutanius. Oh, look at that! Look at that! Rutanius backs out of it. He doesn't need to overtake Savso, so he'll just let Savso use his EOS as much as possible. But I think backing out that much would give Savso an inclination that I need to start recharging my EOS. And Rutanius actually using quite a bit there to charge it down. Maybe just deciding. Oh, yeah, so interesting he didn't go for that move there. Maybe felt like he had a chance of getting him at the exit of 6 and 7 down to turn 9, and didn't quite have the beans to get the job done, because he did use a bit of ERS out of turn 7. And that, if someone slowed down behind me like that, I'd think, well, I just need to start charging ERS because they don't want to. You know, if they're not going to go for that move, they don't want to overtake me, right? So Rutanius may be quite happy in 2nd position, but he needs to be focusing on what the cars behind him do. Bushiant's in 7th position, 9 seconds back from Kunst, but it will be the net leader of the race after the next round of pit stops. And let's have a look at the tyre life. I have predicted gap interval, really bad at this. So on my sheet I have predicted medium tyre length of 20 to 25 laps, so we are right in the pit strategy for these top 6 runners. And there's another yellow through sector 3. It's Victorious again out of turn 9. And as we go back to the leader of the race, Rutanius has finally took 1st position, finally stopped toying with Savso, and Savso now is back. So he did it to get the 2nd DRS zone. Yes, yeah, okay, that makes sense, but yeah, you got to go for a move sometimes, and I think he realised this time around that maybe he doesn't have a good opportunity to take that zone, and Savso tries to make it hard for Rutanius. Rutanius is managing to defend that outside line. That will, of course, be the inside of 10, 11 and 12, and Rutanius does get that job done. So some good racing from the Ferrari and Mercedes drivers as Rutanius takes the lead of this race. I think it was Rutanius the one who had the absolute sublime start on the pair of softs. So we'll see. I think Rutanius may be able to ditch onto another pair of mediums. Savso will maybe have to go onto a pair of hards at the pit stops. And let's see if Savso will fight back on this lap. So the Inator saying that, yeah, of course, Rutanius did back away from the DRS zone, but didn't have that great run out of 6 and 7. And that meant that he couldn't get the 2nd DRS zone. But Rutanius hasn't been able to build a gap from Savso here. And Savso will have a shot at him. I think into turn 1. I think he into turn 6. I don't think he'll pick and choose where he wants to overtake. He'll close down and close down and close down. He won't be close enough into 6, but he'll be right behind the Ferrari driver. The Ferrari driver maximising their line through there, but Savso keeping a nice tight line through turn 6. That opens it up for turn 7, brings him closer to the Ferrari driver Rutanius. And will he go inside or outside? He just leaves enough room on the inside, does Rutanius. Rutanius will let that one go, I think. Won't try to go around the outside, maybe think about the switcheroo, but doesn't do that, so the switchback wasn't done, and Savso takes the lead of this race. Bushiant's now only 6 seconds behind Liam. Kunst has pit, so has yes, Kunst has a latest car to pits, and there's a McLaren driver who has spun again. I think they need to finally give up that those hard tyres are not working for them. And Rutanius now looking at the familiar sight of the back of Savso. Now, Savso, of course, doesn't have... oh, and the McLaren drives off again. Savso... I don't think Savso has the luxury of going on to another pair of mediums here. I don't know. He may have started on the softs. We could check. We could absolutely check. Let's have a quick look at the race director. And Savso, yeah, so mediums from Savso. So Savso, when he pits, will have to go onto the hard tyres. And if Rutanius has that knowledge, we'll be happy with it. Because Rutanius, I believe, started on the soft tyre. And we'll just have a quick check at that. Yes, soft, medium. So he will have a relatively fresh pair of mediums. Because I think he's cycled through those. So relatively fresh pair of mediums, 10-lap mediums. But I think they'll both have to go onto the hard, truth be told. So let's see whether they'll just try and eke this out for as long as possible. Let Bushiant catch up maybe, then go for the pit and hope that they have the speed over the final 18 laps to catch up. And I mean, you start to run out of time. Maybe they'll try and go for a soft tyre stint at the end. That's the other strategy they could go for. The hard tyre will feel pretty useless. It depends how used their other set of mediums are. So we'll see if any of these lead cars decide to pit or they just try to hang it out there on the pair of mediums. But I think medium tyres running 38 laps, they won't feel good. Victorious has spun again. If anyone's got a drinking game going on today, it's Victorious spinning. So... thanks for the invite, Victorious. I've just slagged you off on stream. Okay, so Rutanius in second position and is... I don't know what the strategies are here. I don't know what the strategies are, but Savso going very wide at turn 5, and that means that the DRS will be Rutanius, and Savso will try and go for a move, will he? On well, I don't think that was on purpose. I think that was a mistake from the Mercedes driver. Look at the very different lines there. Very, very different lines. Rutanius opting to run as much curb on the exit, on the entry to turn 6. Savso doesn't like using that curb. And Savso will try to go the long way around into turn 9 here. And these two cars have been battling for the last 15 laps together since being unblocked by Hayden Gillis. And is it Gillis or Gullis? I think it's Gillis, right? I don't know. Someone could correct me on that. So Rutanius is in second position and back behind Savso. But I don't know what's their end game here. They've got to pit. If they don't pit soon, I think they're both hanging out for a pair of softs here to finish the race and hopefully gain a lot of time. Now those softs will feel pretty dead after 10 laps, so they're looking to get to extend their strategies to lap 48, 47, maybe 48 to get onto a pair of softs. And the undercut could be massive between these two drivers. Now, Bushiant currently only 2.6 seconds behind Liam here and really not too far behind the pack. Now, 10 lap old mediums will feel so much better than 24 lap old mediums, and that McLaren has spun again, threatening a safety car every time it spins, but not this time. Every time it spins, I think, oh, a safety car would stir things up. It hasn't. So Rutanius is back behind Savso. Nothing changed there. Hayden Gillis in third position. Dirk Chocolate, he's kind of in no man's land. He's in ninth position and picking up the points. if cars pitted in front of him, he'd get up to somewhere around 5th, 4th, 3rd, maybe 3rd position. He'd get up to. So that's what he's hoping for. Does have 6 seconds worth of time penalties. Kunst also has penalties, 5 seconds worth of penalties. So that must have been when he came into the pits for speeding in the pit lane, and it's a very tricky pit lane to get right. We saw Hacko get it all wrong in was it Hacko? Someone crashed into the pit lane entry. I think it was Hacko. And the McLaren has spun again. Rutanius still in 2nd position, but actually dropping behind Savso here. So Savso's had a good run of corners here. Savso maybe making a bit of a run of it, and can he just break over that 2nd barrier? No, he can't. Breaking out that 2nd barrier would be so crucial, because it allows the car behind to run DRS, just recharge a little bit of EOS and close that gap all the more. So doesn't manage to make full use of a little mistake that Rutanius must have made through those laps, and Bushy has caught them. Absolutely, Bushy has caught the back of Liam. So Liam, 2nd place in the championship, currently sitting on 52 points. He's on 25 lap old mediums, and Bushy Ants must feel so much more confident out of turn 7 and could go for a move here. Liam knows straight away there is no point in defending that one. He is going to come straight by, and my battle really isn't with him, even though they are very close in the championship standings. Liam just trying to extend as much as possible to the end of the race, or potentially lap 48 to strap a pair of soft tyres on. I think if someone straps a pair of soft tyres on, they may close down these leading lot if they opt to stay on the mediums. But Bushy Ants now into 5th position. So Bushy Ants, who stopped just after lap 30, is now catching up with these cars, has made quite a bit of time. So it took 12 laps to close down quite a considerable amount of time, and he's now only a 2nd behind his teammate PW Jones, splitting the 2 drivers. PW Jones just been hanging out as much as possible in sector in 4th position and just sticking behind Hayden, not making a move and trying to keep his prospects alive. But now Bushy Ants may even make a move into turn 5 and does get a better exit out of the long right-hander of turn 4. Well, it's actually the long right-hander of turn 3, and there we are, into 4th position. Next up is teammate. I really don't suspect there'll be too much battling from Hayden here. Of course, the car's just trying to extend, but I honestly think if you pitted for a pair of softs now, you'd be catching up. Your tyres may be dead. Ooh, very late on the brakes there. A little bit of a... obviously not running ABS. A little bit of a lock-up as the McLaren driver of Victorious is lapped once again. And Bushy Ants now right behind Hayden, but doesn't get the job done. Hayden not getting the memo. Let his teammate by to catch up with the lead of the race, but still feels like he needs to fight him, slow him down as much as possible. I think if you pit a pair of soft tyres here and you stayed out with mediums, I think the softs would catch up the medium tyres, because my thinking is Bushy has been on these laps for 12 laps. We have 14 laps left as Bushy has a little bit of corrective oversteer through, a snap of oversteer through. Oh, he does let him by. He does let him by, and Hayden does pit. So Hayden is pitting for a pair of softs, I would believe. And my thinking is that it took Bushy 13 laps to catch up to Hayden. Yeah, and those mediums were a lot newer. So this soft undercut could be massive. Let's see if Safso and Rutanius respond to this. Where is Hayden dropping down to? So Hayden dropping down into 8th position here. Where is he going to drop down to? So I think... Ooh! Contact with the walls. I wonder if he's got any wing damage there. A little bit squirrely underneath the low traction zone on those cold, soft tyres. And Hayden Gillis has made contact with the walls. I was just about to keep track of where he was time-wise. Let's check his time to leader, because you'd expect that to come rocketing down if he hasn't got any wing damage. Even wing damage, it should come down, because that's 0 lap softs. These should be a big chunk of time gained out of here. But a bit of a moment out of there, and Dirk Chocolate hasn't gained that position on Hayden. I think if PW Jones pit and Liam pit, they would also get in front of the Red Bull there. So Hayden not having the best exit there, and the cars at the front, have they decided to pit? Let's check. if Savso or Rutanius respond to the pit of Hayden Gillis. They do. So Savso, I think, is playing the long game here and is just going to stay out on mediums until the end. There's a chance they'll blow up, but Rutanius will certainly have the undercut on Savso if Savso decides to pit a lap later. PW Jones comes into pits. Oh, that slows down Rutanius just a bit, does it? Yes, it does just slow him down just a tad there. So that's unfortunate for him. And Rutanius is in 5th position. So Savso does have a window to pit here. And Bushy Ants, who is now only 3 seconds behind the leader of this race on 14 lap newer medium tyres, will take the lead of this race soon, even if he doesn't pit. But Hayden Gillis battling with PW Jones on the exit of it here. And Rutanius is far down the road. So that mistake there costing a couple of seconds to Hayden Gillis actually in the pit lane, and having to battle through PW Jones is up in 6th position. But I honestly think Rutanius could close this one down. The gap to leader is 19 seconds, so we have 12 laps remaining at the end of this one, and Rutanius would have to take off. He'll take off, I think it'll be like 4 seconds or something like that, 3 seconds on the first lap, but he'll have to take off for maybe a second a lap from there, just over a second and a half a lap throughout the rest of this race. Now these tyres will start to drop away around lap 10, and he's going to have to run 12 laps on them, so it could be one of those situations where to catch is one thing, but to overtake is completely another. But Bushy Ants is now the leader of the race because Savso has decided to pit. So Savso will try to make use, and hopefully he'll hope he hasn't been undercut. Now we did see Rutanius just being held in the pits for a bit longer, and I don't think Savso was actually held in the pits there, just a bit of desync. And let's see who can take the leader, well, the potential net leader this race. Under the track, Savso goes, and I think Rutanius has got the undercut working very well in an advantage. So Savso, that's not worked out for Savso. Pitted a lap later, will have, you know, half a chance that his tyres will actually last the end of the race. A bit better, but it's a second, 2 seconds is the gap between the two drivers. So Savso losing out massively there, and it's actually Liam who's quite close to his teammate. No, it's a bit of gap. So Savso down to 5th place with that 3-second penalty. We'll have to watch how that works out. Rutanius into 4th. Now the gap to leader for Rutanius is only 15 seconds. So what did I say last time around? He may take 4 seconds out of the race leader here. He certainly does. So a big chunk of time is being took out of him, and he's going to try and go for a move on Fom, using as much ERS as possible to get that move done. Does not want to get stuck behind a hard-running driver, and he's up into 3rd position here. Next car up is Kunst is back, and Kunst is back is on has a 5-second penalty. So already up to 2nd place, Rutanius here. And now the gap to leader is just 14 seconds. So with 10 to go, the gap is 14 seconds. He needs to be taking about a 1.1 seconds out of the leader per lap. 1.1, 1.2 seconds of the lap. And it's a fastest lap for Rutanius, a 1:25.087 to take the fastest lap for Rutanius. Now, where is Rutanius in the championship? I don't think he's in the championship. He could be a reserve driver here. So Rutanius could be picking up some big points on his first his outing here. I don't think I can see him on my scoreboard. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Rutanius is going to pick up some big points here Evo round. Bushy Ants, of course, could close down the race, close down to about 10 points behind Jamie Mells in the championship standings if things finish as they are, which will be a big boon for Bushy Ants, the Alpine team running well throughout this race. Now, the gap will be 12 seconds to Bushy Ants at the end of this lap. It's going to be difficult because I do expect Rutanius to catch up, but by the time Rutanius catches up, those softs will be past their peak and way past their peak. Savso up into 4th position. By Fom, the hard runner, is in 5th position. So running those hard longs and trying to get closer and closer to Savso and fight back, but knows ultimately it's not worth going for any kind of lunge there. So the gap is 12.3 to race leader Bushy Ants, and Bushy Ants has done an alternate strategy here. Will run those softs, mediums to 28 laps, 26 laps long life. So that's certainly possible. We saw that from the medium runners who have just pitted for these soft tyres, and Rutanius is currently the car who's looking to take the challenge to Bushy. Now, Kuntz could be a bit of a kingmaker for Bushy here by keeping Rutanius behind, and Rutanius trying to go the long way around, force the issue with the medium running Aston Martin, and up into second position. Rutanius goes and has DRS to boot. No, he doesn't. He doesn't have DRS. So does Kuntz try to fight back? He looks the inside. Is he going to brake late? No, he doesn't. he certainly looks the inside. He didn't want to brake directly behind Rutanius. I think that's what that is, which you can't blame him. Sometimes when it's worth to take a shallower line, just in case they do brake a bit earlier than you expect, you don't go charging into the back of them and ruin their race. So Safso will be the car catching up the German driver next, and Rutanius now has gained about a second on that lap, including an overtake on the German driver, the Aston Martin driver. Okay, so this is going to have to come down a bit more than a second a lap, but he did have a bit of traffic that lap, traffic on the field, and Rutanius is going to try and close up on Bushy, and we could have a grandstand finish between these two. Let's see what the pace is like. Now, he's run these softs for 4 laps. We saw the first lap, he took 5 seconds worth of time out of Bushy, but his soft tyres will start to fall off and fall off and fall off, and he's going to have to push so hard, and Bushy Ants can actually just try to manage the pace and build a bit of ERS over the next few laps. The gap down to 10.9 as we head out of turn 5, 10.7 the gap. So a better exit for Rutanius. And in the backfield, where are the battles being drawn? PW Jones close behind Liam has lost out through that pit stop stage. He was running directly behind Hayden. Actually, no, he's gained a place on Hayden. So I think Hayden has picked up some wing damage there, because he is certainly under pressure from Dirk Chocolate here, and Dirk Chocolate doesn't seem to have had the pace throughout the other sessions to make a big move on Hayden. Looks up the inside, outbrakes himself a little bit, just manages to charge on the inside. There's contact between the two of them. I'm sure it wasn't meant, but Hayden will be just trying to get Dirk Chocolate off his back there. I think very close running, and Dirk just outbroke himself a little bit, managed to avoid an instant at entry, but on exit the two wheels just clashed. Luckily no spin from those two. Now the gap at the end of this lap is 10.1, 10 seconds. Let's say 10 seconds out of there. So that's come down a little bit. We're only having 7 laps left of racing, so it's going to have to be 1.3 seconds a lap, or maybe a mistake from Bushy for Rutanius to take a surprise win here. Bushy would very much like all 25 points. I think Rutanius currently has the fastest lap. He does, a 1:25.087. We'll see if anyone in the top 10 decides to pit for that. And a 3-stop strategy versus a 2-stop strategy here. We've had quite a few safety cars through the opening stages of this race, 3 in the first 20, but none since then. So we have 7 laps remaining at round 5 of this Abu Dhabi circuit. Let's just see if I've got any facts. There's a really boring one about Etihad, the national airline. Let's not do that one. I kind of mentioned it. I semi-mentioned it. Kimi Räikkönen winning from the 4th row of the grid. It's the only time he won in 2012 for the Lotus team, one of 3 constructors to win around here, the others being Mercedes and Red Bull. And tyre status, I'm happily switched to tyre status. There we are. Tyre status, so Rutanius has 5-lap old softs, by the way. But yeah, so Kimi Räikkönen basically win from 4th on the grid, the only car to win outside of the top 2. And actually, it was Bushy Ants who started 2nd place here, so keeping that dream along at least in virtual form. We'll see if tomorrow anyone can win outside of the top 2. Everyone else, I think 8 wins around here have come from 1st position, 4 from 2nd, and 1 from 4th row on the grid. That's the furthest back anyone's won here in the 13 times they've won it since 2009. So Bushy Ants is very much under pressure here from Rutanius, but I don't think Rutanius is pulling in the gap enough, and I think he'll know that. And the big thing with Rutanius this here is once he catches Bushy, his tyres will be about 10 laps, 12 lap old softs, and they just won't have the pace to overtake. So I think, unfortunately, unless there's a mistake from Bushy here, Bushy can just nicely control that gap. I don't think it's quite on here, but we'll see if this comes down dramatically at any stage. A little squirrely moment through any of the corners, especially that final sector, which is so dependent on tyre temperatures, would be massively important. So with 6 laps to go, Rutanius on 6 lap old softs to 20 lap old mediums, I just don't see the gap coming down enough. It was 10 seconds 2 laps ago. He needs to be taking 1.5 seconds out per lap, and it's just not quite enough. I think he'll be about 2 seconds away from the race leader at the end of this race. We'll see if he can make any more inroads. Of course, the good thing for Rutanius is that those lap mediums will start to feel pretty off themselves. So if he does get to them, he'll probably be able to have a fight on merit with similar kind of levels of degradation across the 2 medium and soft tyre compounds. But Rutanius is going to have to start applying more pressure in these final moments. And Bushy also in a luxury position where he can maybe give up a bit more room but use less ERS, but actually is pushing and trying to use as much ERS as possible as he comes to lap the cars of little Carlos and Larsen, and actually Victorious at some point has DNF'd from this race. So I've missed that, sorry Victorious, but wasn't seeming to go your way anyway. And we have 11 runners left in the race, 53 laps in, and let's change the gap to interval. And we have Zavso right on the back of Kuntz. So this is for 3rd position, and Kuntz has a 5-second penalty, Savso has a 3-second penalty, and up into 3rd, Savso goes. So Savso will pick up some decent points on the cars around him, but of course, joint on points going into this race were Bushy and Savso, and he will have 10 laps back, 10 points back to Bushy in the championship. But I think Bushy will take 2nd in the championship, Savso will take 3rd at the end of this race as he takes that podium position. Let's actually just see what the penalty status is like, because that's going to be important. So yeah, 3-second penalty to Savso. Isbak has a 5-second penalty. Fom has a 3-second penalty. Dirk Chocolate has a 12-second penalty. So having a good battle with Hayden here in these closing moments, but it will be all for pride, because Dirk Chocolate will definitely not gain 12 seconds even if he just gets past, and Hayden runs very wide through the final sets of corners, so that's probably going to be pick up a warning. And these two friends are definitely having a fight here, and Rutanius spun. Oh, Rutanius did spun. Oh, Rutanius spun. So, right. Okay, so it doesn't change much. Yeah, thanks for that, Rowley. Rutanius did spin, but it's not going to change much, because as long as Rutanius can stay within 3 seconds of the car ahead, Savso would finish in 3rd position. Of course, if Savso can pull out a gap on Rutanius here, that would be magical. And Savso did go an extra lap on those pair of medium tyres, so we'll have slightly better tyres. Little Carlos getting a 5 seconds penalty for ignoring blue flags, so slowing down Bushy Anthem, I think that must be. And those 2 cars having a battle in front, and Little Carlos does finally get out of the way. So does Larsen. These 2 cars battling for 10th place. Larsen looks like he'll take that through penalties. Savso is going to be... Yeah, I don't think it changes anything. Any spin here obviously would change something. A spin from Rutanius. And it's Kuntz who's right on the back of these drivers. And actually, the tyre life will be going towards the Aston Martin driver, but that 5-second penalty will be detrimental towards him. So let's see if he can claw that back. So of course, Savso has a 3-second penalty. So if he can get by Rutanius, get by Savso, there is a possibility he could build a 2-second lead, especially as those soft tyres start to reach the end of their life. I think it's a shame actually, because Rutanius was closing down that gap just a little bit, but you can see the gap to Savso is 9.2 seconds, and it's only gone down from 10. And Liam has spun, so Liam has spun and is now just he's just behind Fom. So Liam, our 2nd place man in the championship, is down and trying to take a place on Fom. Now Fom has penalties, so this is really just to get by, and Fom has 3 seconds worth of penalties. Now soft tyres versus hard tyres here. Fom running one of the drivers to run the hard tyres during the second part of this race, and into turn 12 Liam is just struggling to get through here. Okay. So Liam's struggling to get through on these softs, back towards the sharp end of it. Savzo is closing down the gap to Bushy, but I don't think that Rutanius, in all honesty, I don't think Rutanius was going to close that gap, even without the spin. I think it would have been too much for him. So Rutanius would still be semi-happy with second position here. Of course, a competitor, so will want to have had that first place, and maybe if they could just add a little bit more pace and not get so held up by Savzo during that second stint in the race, then it could have been possible. But Liam is past because Fom has made a mistake, and it's PW Jones who's actually sneaked by. So PW Jones is now right behind Liam, the Mercedes driver, and will have DRS. Liam won't have DRS to defend with, and won't have much ERS either. So let's see if PW Jones can make a move into 6. He thinks better of it, but at the exit of 7, let's see what the run is like for PW Jones. It's a decent run, but Liam has a lot better power out of the corner, and that creates a gap. So this DRS will have to shrink and shrink and shrink the gap, and PW Jones thinks about a move, gets behind him, lifts, and just gives up on that one. So let's see if PW Jones can close that one back. And K is back. It's just falling off the back of Rutanius here, so it doesn't look like the soft tyres are falling off so much that Rutanius is going backwards. And as we go on to the penultimate lap of the race, reminder that Bushy Ants is in the lead of this race on 25 lap old mediums, 10 lap old softs for Savso and Rutanius. The Alpine driver is pushing to keep the lead, and it's a 7.5 second lead to a car which has a 3 second penalty, so that's probably going to be fine. Savso will be hoping that suddenly he sees a 3 second penalty warning from Rutanius, and the only way I think Rutanius could have closed down Bushy Ants, and I think he could have got within 3 seconds if Bushy Ants picks up a 3 second penalty. Now if Rutanius sees a 3 second penalty from Bushy Ants, he'll be absolutely gutted, I'm sure, but Rutanius will not have lost anything through his spin, and it's just so hard to manage the tyre attempts of those soft tyres once they get past their best, and that's, I'm sure, what the spin would have been caused by. Rutanius isn't under pressure from behind. In fact, Kunst has a penalty to boot, so won't be gaining any places here, but probably will be doing enough to maintain 4th position, and Liam is in 5th with a bit of pressure from PW Jones behind. So as we come to the final lap, we follow Bushy Ants out of the final corner, and it's just one more lap left. Bushy Ants yet to take a win this year, and has led through a good strategy through parts of this race. Was an early switcher to the medium tyre, and started on the hards. Of course, had a moment, crashed out and lost a wing. That put him onto this alternate 2-stop strategy on the mediums. So he's had 3 stops, but of course he's had 2 stops, right? So onto hards, onto mediums. Yeah, that's right, yeah. So onto mediums, onto mediums. So Bushy Ants now coming to turn 6 and 7. He's got a 6.6 second gap on Rutanius. Rutanius looking for a move on Savso, is he? I think he'll think better of it. He does actually try to go up the inside here. No, he doesn't. He thinks better of it. Contact here could be disastrous for both of their races. He'll get that place anyway, so I'm sure he won't be bothered. Bushy Ants, in the meanwhile, is up in front, 6.6 second lead. Started on the hard, switched to mediums early on after wing. A contact made him lose his front wing, and then did this medium strategy that worked out very well. By the time the other cars pitted, he caught the back of them and put them in a position where he had to close it down. As he heads under the hotel for a final time tonight, Bushy Ants will take his first win in the Choco League, and it's congratulations to the Alpine team. Qualifying second, not quite the pace of Jamie Mells, but Jamie Mells, who fell out the race early on, has opened up the opportunity of victory for someone else after 3 in a row, and Bushy Ants takes the win. Savso follows through in second, but will lose the position to Rutanius, and it is Rutanius in second, Savso in third. 4th finishes Kunst. Fom coming around the final corner now is being closely collared by Liam. He will lose places to Liam. PW Jones looks like he's made a mistake because he's gone backwards. So Liam is in 5th, Fom in 6th. PW Jones, who was right behind Liam at some stage, has fallen backwards on those final sets of lap. And Hayden Gillis, who is running so well, and I would have loved to see what he could have done had he not had that contact on the exit of the the pits. You win some, you lose some, and this was one day he lost some. 8th position for him. Dark Chocolate will pick up 9th after the penalties are applied. Hayden goes for a spin. Dirk goes for a spin, and that is the end of the session. So thank you very much if you've been watching all along with me. Liam spun. Yep, Liam spun. So Liam was driver of the day there. So Liam, who qualified in Q2, somewhere between 10th and 15th, if my memory serves correctly, comes up and gains some places, and it will mean that the championship lead of Jamie Mells will be cut. And if I do some quick maths, I think it will be cut to around 8 points. So Jamie Mells will have a point to prove next time out. Has run 3 in a row, but not this one. It was Bushy Ants who took the race win. As we see the victory celebrations from the Alpine team. And it's the first win in Chocoleague for Bushy Ants. 2 Alpine wins and 3 Alfa Romeo wins so far in this championship. The constructors will definitely go towards the Alpine team, but I think the gap will be around maintained. The constructors going into it was about a 14 lap lead, so a 14 point lead. I think that the Mercedes have just enough to cling on to the constructors' points there. Of course, South Sove picking up 15 points, so that will lose 10 points to Bushy, and then Hayden Gillis not picking up 2 points. So I think the gap will just be about the same. Well, not the same, but will be down, and so Mercedes will retain a Constructors' Championship lead, and Bushy Ants closes down 2nd position. So some good racing on display throughout that, and just running a bit flat towards the end, I must say, but some good racing, and we'll just have a quick nosy through the different incidents, just in case they're useful to anyone. They can go back and clip this stream. Of course, if you are interested in more racing, there is league racing throughout the week, 7 PM start times. We have the cross-play divisions on Tuesday and Wednesday at 7. We have the PlayStation divisions on Thursday and Friday, Chocoleague on the Saturday, and an F2 division at 6:30s if it's streamed. So thank you very much for following along. I've been Gareth Allen, and I hope you've enjoyed the stream, and thank you very much.